Hello and welcome to We Got Issues, the only comic book podcast that believes that a Star Wars Marvel crossover is a bad idea, no matter how desperately we want to see if a lightsaber can cut through Wolverine's claws or Captain America's shield. Hi, I'm Brian Compton, aka BComp, and joining me as always is the snapper car to my Rick Jones, Josh Markwith. How you doing, buddy?
Can you pick up my
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Snap, snap,
good. I'm good. And I recently, about this, the Star Wars Marvel thing, I heard this video and these people were discussing like who would win, like mutants or the Jedi, or I guess like the Brotherhood of Mutants or the Jedi, and they were like fully on the Jedi winning, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know, like
I don't know. I don't even know if I need to. I don't even know if I need this. I don't know, nor do I care. I think the mutants would win because they have a far bigger range of powers. Like, okay, the Jedi are basically Professor Xavier and Jean Grey, and mutants are, dudes who shoot optic blasts out of their eyes, or, can control the metal in your bones or in your blood and crush you. I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, mutants have such a diverse power set, where it's like the Jedi are kind of limited.
It's even reality warping. So, yeah.
I just don't want to see it, honestly. There's one thing. It's like I feel like Lucasfilm. I think we talked about this in the last podcast. I feel like Lucasfilm has always kept a tight rein on both Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and to see them like, okay, now we're opening the doors. I'm like, cool. So are we gonna get the Muppets versus the Jedi next? Is it gonna be like Godzilla versus the Jedi?
Can you imagine?
I just don't need it. I don't want it.
I would love
it's
the
gonna
Muppets
happen
again versus
versus
the Jedi. That would be amazing. Even though, I mean, technically it already is kind of, isn't it?
Well, they have done a kaiju. There are kaiju within the Star Wars universe. I forget what they're called, but I think they're literally called kaiju.
Are the Rancors aren't Rancors?
No, it's a whole other thing. It's literally a whole other. It's literally they're called like kaiju, but like with like an extra syllable on the end. But anyway, I digress.
Of course.
I believe we have a special guest joining us today. Is that correct, Josh?
We do, and we haven't had a guest in a little bit, so this is going to be really fun.
I agree. He's a longtime listener of the show, as well as a former colleague of mine, a workhorse of a producer. And if I'm reading my notes correctly, you both kind of have the same last name for some weird reason. Why is that?
Yeah, some weird reason.
What's the reason?
That was a setup, I guess we're related. I'm sorry, that was me just not catching up. But yes, he is your colleague, my brother. It is Mr. Nate Markwith.
Hey, everybody.
What, Nate?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for
Long-time listener.
joining. I know. I honestly, it's been fun because Nate jumps in the comments and helps us out. So that actually helps us a lot. And then it's good to hear like your response to our podcast and stuff. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely a fan of the show, and one of the dozens of viewers you get is usually
like dozens of it.
dozens of it. Well, to be fair, I mean, and we'll get into this in just a few moments. I was going to say, I was going to mention that. Well, we'll get into it in a few moments, but I was going to say, Josh did warn me before the show that we started, me and Nate, so like I said, Nate and I worked together for quite a long time, both at Nerdist, and Josh did warn me if we start ganging up on him, he is going to end the podcast. So if there's a point where suddenly the podcast just ends, well, that's because me and Nate just got a little too rowdy.
So Nate is like me when he sees like the paradigm shift or something, and blood in the water, he jumps into it.
I agree, man. It's funny. Well, let's get into it right now. Yeah, it is. The book we are going to be chatting about today is probably one of the greatest Hulk stories of all time, or at least the greatest without Peter David's name attached to it. It's Planet Hulk.
Yeah, and to mention, Nate is the one who brought it to us.
That's right. Of course, before we can do that, it's sponsor time, which I'm going to throw this one to you, Josh. You want to tackle this one?
Yes, it'll be my pleasure. And by now, I guess we're on episode 31. So by now, you should know that the greatest snacks and candies in the world can be found at duffandshaw.com. But if you're one of those people who can only function after their daily dose of caffeine, you'll be happy to know that they're selling coffee now by the bag.
What?
So I know it's kind of crazy. So whether it's salted caramel Kraken brew or their Bigfoot's Midnight Watch, aka Dark Roast, These snacks and coffees have been curated by from the most mysterious and undiscovered places on planet Earth. So what we want you to do is head over to duffandshaw.com/issues today and check out all they've got and more. That's duffandshaw.com/issues, and it helps the podcast out, and you get a nice cup of joe in the meantime.
And that is, of course, Nate, our former boss, Mike Shaw's company.
Yeah, it's definitely a great company and great snacks too. I've had them before, and they're very delicious. And Mike Shaw's a great guy and great person to support.
Professional.
See, you know what's funny too? But you know what's funny too? Like you guys have worked with Mike Shaw, and you guys worked at Nerdist, and then Brian, you worked at G4 and stuff. But I had the first I worked with Mike Shaw first as the intern, and I actually got beat up by Mike Shaw when he was Batman and Kevin Pereira was Robin. And I had like an old school, like, yeah, see, kind of like get up, and I got beat up as an intern by them. So
nice.
That's my little history with
Mike Shaw. Nice. Yeah,
actually, and I sat at his desk when I was at Nerdist.
That's right. You would do that. It's right. You would just sit there. You'd come to visit, and just like post up right there. I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As we mentioned, today is a long time. Our guest today is a longtime friend of the show. Like I said, he's one of my producers at Nerdist, where he worked on shows ranging from Nerdist News to Because Science to Mothership and Sidekick. He also helped produce the first iteration of this show, We Got Issues, back when it was a video-only show for Project Alpha. What are you doing right now, Nate? It's been a minute since we've been behind the trenches together.
Yeah, currently I'm working for Run Studios up in Seattle, mainly working with Microsoft and all their corporate events as a manager for the Broadcast Operations Center for Microsoft. So a lot of corporate stuff, but it's really fun.
Nice.
Well,
Nate, we want to get a little bit into your comic book background. I mean, obviously you've got the chops when it comes to the sort of pop culture stuff, but let's talk about a little bit about your comic stuff. This is a comic show. What was your first? We like to always ask our guests, like, what was your first comic or your first memory of comics?
Well, if you know Josh's story, you'll probably know my story as well, because
I don't know Josh's story.
Growing up, we were very much moochers off of each other, and we have 3 brothers, and
time out.
No,
First of all, time out.
You
off
are
of each other.
Yes,
each other. All right, continue.
I know what I said.
Continue.
So we would do like the swap meets and like sell some stuff, and then that's when Josh really got into comics and bought some long boxes, and it's like, cool, this is cool. Once Josh is done reading it, I'm going to read that book. And so that's kind of like our first iteration to the comics of Josh kind of starting that collection, and then us being like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then us just kind of like, hey, go buy that comic, and once you're done, I get first dibs.
Nice. What was
Nate was later in, like, I was doing the barbershop stuff before Nate. I think it was even close to like to being able to read and everything too. So that's what's funny.
Did you have a favorite comic growing up, Nate? Or obviously besides Planet Hulk, but was there another comic that you really was like, oh, I really gravitated either towards this character or this team or this publisher?
Yeah, that's great question. I know I have fond memories.
I know it is. That's why I asked it.
Trying. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Fond memories. Well, I don't know fond memories, but trying to dissect Crisis on Infinite Earths. As kind of like one of our first trades that we got, and I'm like, see, I am so confused.
It trickled down.
Yeah.
See?
And so it's like I don't know it's cool. It looks cool, but I don't know what's going
beautiful.
on. Yeah, it looks great, but I don't know half of these people or the backstory. But I'm like, I think I read it, like tried to read it 3 times. I could not do it, but I was like, this is I'm still kind of cool. And then I remember we had kind of like the same issues of it was the issues after the death of Superman. So yeah, like Superboy and
Cyborg Superman,
yeah, all those individual comics. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. These different perspectives, and then, hey, what did happen to Superman? Oh, that's kind of cool that he just died, and then but now came back to life. And so then after that, I kind of get into more of the Marvel side of things, and from then on, it was really cool. I loved seeing so. And we'll get into this a little bit later too, but my favorite thing really with comics and what I kind of gravitate towards is not the main stories,
Mhm.
but here's a side story. Here's, an alternate reality. Here's, kind of like
Mm.
similar to what ifs, but I think more detailed than just like a one off. So
Yeah.
the comic we're reading right now is definitely goes into that, but so like Injustice, big fan of like
Mhm.
that. I like the Public Enemies team up
Mhm.
just because it's kind of like, hey, Batman, Superman, these characters, but what if we did something different?
Yeah. Alright, that's cool. Are you reading anything right now of note, or are you just kind of, like, stacked with work?
Mainly stuff with work, but
Yeah, I figured as much.
I've been
I
I'm more of a gamer, but
ah.
yeah, but I
Well,
do
then on that case, are you excited for the new Wolverine game that's gonna be coming out soon?
I would be if I had a PS5, but unfortunately,
Ah.
I do not. But I
Mm.
really wish I had one for that. But I did like play the
He's
new
a company
Halo.
man. He has an
Yeah,
Xbox.
exactly,
I that's
exactly.
a good answer.
They can't
Good
find me.
answer.
They can't track me down. But I did just recently play like the new Halo remaster that
Okay.
came out, the Assassin's Creed 4 that just came out. So I'm trying to keep with that, but then I'm always like knowing kind of like I know in the zeitgeist what's going on of like the main stuff that's
Mhm.
going on with comics. So I started to keep up in that way, not like, reading every issue, but it's like, hey, this big event, what happened? Cool. What let me read some articles about what happened. Oh, that's cool. And then kind of staying up to date on it.
I
Keeping
think,
your,
yeah,
pop culture entertainment background going, basically.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
and I
Josh, I
think
didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, no problem. No, it's like all four of us have like, cause again, there's four boys, but we all have kind
I
of
feel
like
sorry
our
for your mom, by the
corners.
way.
Or boys?
Oh, no, okay. First of all,
Or
I don't
boys?
know. Everybody says that, but Nate will agree with me.
Oh yeah.
M My mom, she doesn't need a for sorry. Like she handled us very like she could take us out with a look from across the room.
Oh,
So
I'm sure, but
it's like
still,
a yeah.
as the father
No,
of 2, and only one of them is a boy, I am telling you, I still
yeah,
feel for your mom.
and no, and I'm telling you, she had her on lockdown. Let's just say
Okay.
like she we have stories, and I know she listens, so I don't want to bring them. um, so but yeah, but we all had like our little bit of four corners of like stuff
Mhm,
where like I was a little bit more of the like the comic book type of thing. Nate is definitely like the gamer.
mhm.
I think out of all of
Oh,
us,
I know, I
and
played him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, yeah, yeah, Brian. If I could whoop you at Halo, like don't even try it against Nate.
No,
Um,
I don't. I saw him at work.
yeah, that's when yeah, Nate's kind of corners the game stuff. Like, um, it's uncanny how good he is at video
No, it
games, and
really is.
it's
Oh, no, I
infuriating.
yeah, I trust me, I know.
So,
I saw him at Nerdist. It's
well,
anyway.
try living with him, and then he's just watching the TV, and then you mess up on like a level like four times, and he's like, "Do you want me to do that for you?" Like, but
It's just
yeah,
gotta get good. It's just
I know. See,
yeah.
see, that's what I
On
mean. I
that
can't
note, I
even
was
no,
gonna
even
ask
when
if
I
you
think
I know, yeah.
even when I think I'm good, he's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I already did that. That's fine, whatever." Okay.
well, I was gonna ask you, Nate, if you had anything to promote, but on that note, let's just move on. Do you have anything to promote?
Hey, if you're not listening to We Got Issues podcast, you should listen to the back catalog.
Oh, there
A
we
lot of
go.
episodes. You
Hey.
should look at check them out.
There we go. All right, well, in that case, Josh, do you wanna take it away?
Yeah, yeah. So let's jump in now to the actual topic that we wanted to discuss that Nate you brought to us, which actually it's like one of the books that Brian and I have had in the back of our heads for a while. So like this is a great excuse to do it. We're going to be talking about the epic. Uh, I guess you could call this like almost like a space opera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, space opera story of Planet Hulk, and now, like, not getting, like, too specific yet, because 'cause we're gonna break it down, Nate, like, what made you say, like, "I want to do Planet Hulk"? Because I remember I was like, "Hey, Nate, you wanna be on the podcast?" "Sure, what kinda would you like to" and you went Planet Hulk before you even, like,
Finish
finish
the
the
question.
sentence.
Finish the question.
So what ki like, what, draws you to the story, but also, like, what made you wanna talk about it?
Yeah, I think it's a great story overall because it's simple and it's out of the ordinary, kind of like what I mentioned before. What I like to really get into, you know, if you know about the Hulk, like, okay, I know the basic story of the Hulk, it's the green. giant monster. But then this is kind of just throws him into this whole new world, really, yeah, literally. And it's a whole different story, new characters, just like, hey, this is kind of a side thing that happened that's actually really fun and really well like thought out and put together of just like this whole ecosystem and culture that's like this is something to dive into and it's digestible. And one thing that really I think sold me on it is one of the covers has Hulk kind of like in a it's the I think it's the third issue in this one, but it's a side profile of him and he's looking into the camera and he's in a full gladiator like regalia, but he just looks like serious and just sad. And just like that image, it's like, boom, I'm in. I want to see what's going on.
Seared into your brain.
Yeah, it's like you because you would think like Hulk, you see him just angry or just out of control, but this is like, okay, he's serious. He's a full gladiator, which is awesome, and he's just like ready to get down to business.
Nice.
You need to like expand on that too. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is the third issue of it, but it's also it I agree that it is like the most different, like compared because I'm looking at like all the other covers like that are close to it. In almost every one too before it is him with like his right arm or arm up about to punch like something or smash something. So yeah, that definitely does like draw the eye for sure. So that's a good call out.
I was gonna say we're gonna talk about it in a little bit, but the covers are dynamite,
They're
and
so
there's a
good.
cover specific.
So
There's a
good.
cover I want to specifically talk about, but we'll wait until we get to that point. This is typically where we would read the blurb on the back. Nate, as our guest, would you like to take a smash at it?
For sure.
And before you do, as you know, we like to try to do in our best like trailer voice guy. So you do your best one if you want to. You don't need to if you don't want to.
Or you can just suck. It's fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can just be. But
see, Josh, I can pick on your brother too.
Wow. Yeah, way to pick on your guest. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
former producer, dude. I can do whatever the hell I want.
We got issues. We're a professional podcast. So yeah, I mean, we try to do in our best trailery voice.
Yes, he's all. Yes, I've listened to the podcast. I know.
Yeah.
See,
it's more for the
it
people that are
on Josh.
It was now more for the people who haven't listened to this episode yet.
So this is so just really, for people at home, this is originally released, a couple years ago, but also reintroduced recently in a new trade. So this is kind of a it's both. I think it's the same one. So if either one you get, same one, yeah. Because funny enough, I got the new one, but I do have the old one.
The digest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same one. I double checked.
All right. I'm ready for this. Betrayed by Earth's heroes, the exiled into outer space, the man monster, Hulk, has landed on a distant planet Sakaar. Ruled by the tyrannical Red King, sold into slavery, Hulk becomes the Green Scar, my planet's mightiest gladiator. But his new masters get more than what they bargained for when he forges a bond of brotherhood with his fellow fighters. Crafty insectoid Meek, the horrific Brood, wise rockman Korg, shadow warrior Heroim, noble-born rebel Eloy, and her loyal guardsman Ski. Together, these gladiators start a revolution that could change the entire world or destroy it. It's savage sci-fi fantasy by award-winning writer Greg Pak, guest starring the Silver Surfer.
Right on.
Nice.
Right on. That was great.
That's it. Yeah. Which, by the way, it's Greg Pak. You had that right, man. Because I've been calling him Greg Pak, and I feel like an a-hole. And it's Greg Pak. Whoops! I've been saying that wrong for a long time, so I apologize, sir.
Also, not new to the podcast of getting somebody's name wrong.
Trying to be professional here and pronounce their names right. Published between the months of February 2006 and June 2007, this story took place in the pages of Incredible Hulk from issues 92 through 105, along with a few side stories that appeared in one-shots here and there.
Yeah, and then it was written by Greg Pak, like we said, and predominantly drawn by Carlo Pagulayan.
You got it.
Right? I got it.
Yep.
And Aaron Lopresti.
Got it.
And this was, pun intended, groundbreaking story for Old Purple Pants. And we'll have the creator breakdown like we normally do in just a moment, but let's kind of just talk about how everybody got into these issues. Like we'll start with Nate. Nate, how did you read this originally? What did you read the singles or were digitally or
I
the trade?
I first read it in trade form and just randomly grabbed it. Um, I think just like saw the Hulk, saw Gladiator, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I'll get it. No like prior knowledge to anything. I knew kind of what was going on in the rest of Marvel at the time, but not with the Hulk. And so just like, hey, this is kind of a cool Hulk story. And so I just grabbed the whole trade and read it.
Nice.
Awesome. And then Brian, what about you?
Honestly, this is where there's a big dip in my comic collecting. This is unfortunately where that kind of was. So, like, I knew about the storyline as it was happening when it was coming out, but I just did not collect these issues for some weird reason. I think I dropped Hulk for a little bit because I kind of fell out of the previous Bruce Jones run and all that. So I did know about what was going on, and I jumped back in for World War Hulk because I knew it was going to be like a big epic event. But I read this actually in trade. That said, I've been finding the issues here and there, like, oh, I'll pick them up. It's like, $3 for that. But I ran into a stack of them in a dollar bin
Mm,
in mint condition. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So I'm only missing like three of them now. And I've got, which is the first one, which is the most expensive, but I got almost every single thing other than that, which I was like, oh, hell yeah. But yeah, I read it in trade as well. And it was pretty quickly after it dropped in. I think the first trade dropped in like 08 or whatever. What about you, Josh?
nice. I actually got this in the singles.
Do you wanna
I
trade me
was
that
a
first issue? I'll offer I'll offer.
to be honest, I think they're in a storage that I don't know how we would get to them. But yes, I got them in singles when they were coming out because this was like heyday when I was in college
Yeah.
and it was I would take the bus down the street because there's one comic shop in Pullman at
Mhm.
Washington State where I was at. And I don't even think they were there when Nate when you were there. Like they had closed down before you even got there. But in I was part of my pull list like because it came out pretty almost not exactly on the heels, but like pretty close to the House of M stuff.
It
And
was right on the
so
heels of it. It was literally
right.
on the
So
heels of literally
yeah, yeah.
like 4 issues later.
Right. So I mean I had gotten all the the House of M stuff. I was still kind of on that, and then I gave it a break, but then I came back to it. I was like, oh, okay, what's this Planet Hulk stuff? And
Mhm.
yeah, I had the single issues, which was great.
That's really cool, man. That's actually really cool. Are you all Hulk guys, or is that, like, he's just kinda one of those tangential characters you follow? I'll start with you, Nate.
For me, before I read this book, he was always a tangential character that kind of popped up, in Avengers or just like any side stories. I actually never read a full-on Hulk story before this, and
Mhm.
but he was always a character where like you kind of just knew what he is all about.
Hulk
It's
smash.
Bruce Banner, it's Hulk smash. He gets angry, they stop him, and they feel bad about it. But he does these like incredible feats of strength, like holding up a mountain, which is
Mhm. Oh,
wild,
yeah.
or
Secret
just
Wars,
like
baby.
yeah, but it also depends on the writer of like, is
Yes.
how smart is Hulk? How crazy is Hulk this time? We'll
Yeah.
see.
What color is Hulk this time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was
9
kind of a
times out of 10,
crapshoot.
all those questions can be answered with Peter David as the answer.
Yeah,
True.
What about you, Josh? You a whole guy? And if so, where does he rank as a character for you?
I was like in and out of Hulk. I kind of like with Nate in a little bit where, um, I didn't get too much of like Hulk stuff. I mean, I was big into the Maestro stuff. Maestro.
Maestro, I'll go with Maestro.
Um, yeah. I really like the kind of that storyline. I like the potential of Hulk. I feel like before this, he was kind of in his own little area because he's always been like an original character, right? But he's never
Yeah.
been put on the same pedestal as Spider-Man, Fantastic
Mhm.
Four, like
Yeah.
in the fan zeitgeist, I would say,
Mhm.
like
He is definitely siloed into his own corner of the Marvel universe,
right,
you know what I mean?
but what's great is it was always a big deal when he showed up on other people's books,
Yeah.
but his own book wasn't too like crazy, if that makes any sense.
No, I got you. I feel you. I feel you.
What about you? I mean,
Oh,
other than Peter David stuff for you, right?
honestly, it was always Peter David. Like that's the stuff I started like reading when I was starting to get into comics, and like I just remember like always like this is I didn't know who Peter David was. But like, oh, whoever's writing this book, it's really funny. Like it was always like really good jokes. And so I always really enjoyed it. And it wasn't until I got older that I like realized like, oh, it's because this guy, Peter David, he's also writing this X Factor book, and wow, this guy's really funny. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like a Hulk guy. I do pretty consistently pick up his book now, especially coming out of Planet Hulk, because it's like Marvel's realized they really want to use him, and so he definitely kind of gets like all-star treatment as opposed to like when Peter David was writing it. And like literally, and we're gonna get into this, but like Peter David, like they did not care. They're like, we don't care. You can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
We do not care. Do whatever you want with this character. Yeah. Let's get into the creative team though. Let's talk a little bit about the sort of artists and writers and all that kind of stuff. Do you mind if I tackle the writer, Josh?
Please do.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, Greg Pak is the writer. He's an American writer known for his work on books like Hulk, Superman, Star Wars, and the X-Men. He's half Korean, which also means he's frequently hired to write characters and stories from an Asian perspective. He's actually a Rhodes Scholar, which means he went to Oxford, and he went to study filmmaking and political science, but soon changed careers when he heard that Marvel was looking for new talent in the early 2000s. He got his start writing a sort of Warlock miniseries in 2004 before he tackled the X-Men miniseries Phoenix End Song, as well as the video game tie-in Nemesis: The Imperfect. Do you remember that video game, Nemesis, like
I
the Imperfects?
Yeah, Nate, we rented that like one time,
Yeah,
huh?
I
Like
played
way
yeah,
back when?
played the crap out of it on GameCube, I think, and that was
Yeah.
just a fun game.
Which is funny because
It
it's
was kind of like
never.
a Power Stone. Remember that game
Yeah,
too? Like it was like a
yeah.
roaming fighting game.
That's literally what I think they described it when I was reading my research. I remember seeing the advert by it, but I never actually played it. So he wrote the video game tie-in to that. And while the game wasn't well received, the tie-in comic went nowhere. It did introduce him to editor Mark Pacina, who would later tap him to write Planet Hulk, but we'll get into that in a moment. Pak is known for his mix of big action, emotional characterization. He's typically has a very good ear for dialogue, progressive character work, and strong structure. On top of his work on Planet Hulk, he also tackled both the mainline Star Wars book as well as a decent run on the Darth Vader book. He also co-created Amadeus Cho, aka the totally awesome Hulk, and has handled a decent amount of X titles, like I said, Weapon X and Extreme X-Men. On top of that, he's also worked on a ton of third-party IP like James Bond, John Wick, Battlestar Galactica, and Firefly. But I would be honest, despite all that, and Planet Hulk is like one of his first books. It's really Planet Hulk that solidified him as a writer and made him a household name. Um, Personally for me, when it comes to Grey Pak, and I think Josh, you're kind of in the same boat. He's one of those writers that if I'm on the fence on a book, his name will always tip me over into buying it, like into the buy column. Like I'm not sure. Oh, Grey Pak's writing it. Yeah, I'll pick it up. He's always been a solid writer with his books. For me, usually falling in the good to great range. But that's me. What are your thoughts on Grey Pak, Josh?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I think he really proved it to me with the Planet Hulk, World War Hulk stuff, and
Mhm.
then
And he wasn't a one hit
uh,
wonder with it either. Like he's
no,
done
for
other
sure.
stuff that. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, and then the continuation with the Hercules, the Incredible
Oh,
Hercules.
Incredible Hercules. Yeah.
That was such a fun book with him and Amadeus Cho. I thought
Mhm.
that was really fun. Book. It made Hercules a really fun character there as well. And then um yeah, I mean, I guess you could almost nah, I don't know if I would say he's almost as synonymous with the Hulk as Peter David, but it's pretty gosh
He's
darn
definitely
close because
he's definitely
he's done a
mentioned the
lot with
top
him.
5. I would say he's in the top 5 of not that there's a lot, but the top 5 of, I would say, Incredible Hulk writers. I'd
Right.
definitely argue that. Um,
And he's done some good X-Men stuff too.
mhm.
But I mean, for me it's like his Hulk stuff, but then also like the Incredible Hercules stuff. That was really fun.
What about you, Nate? Do you have any, predilection for or against Greg Pak, or are you just like, "Eh, whatever, I don't care. I just read the I like me big smash Hulk
Like
man.
big smashes. No, I really like the writing in this book that Greg Pak does because it's simple and it's accessible and it's easy to follow. So
Yeah.
this book can get really messy really fast with
I
all the
mean,
different characters and different
we're
like
gonna get
stuff
into
going
that.
on. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
like once you kind of get into it, and I was reading it, this past week, just kind of reading up on it, and
Yeah.
I was like blazing through it because it's just a simple read and just like it flows nicely into each panel.
Well, it's funny you should say that, and like again, we will get into it, but it's like the fact that you're dealing with an alien world, multiple new characters that are not human. I mean, like literally, none of these characters are human, and you're literally dropping them in, and to make it all accessible, and like within the first issue, make it all accessible, and set up the rules. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
He definitely, yeah, created this full world
Mhm.
and these new characters just off the cuff.
Yeah.
There was no, there was there's there's only like two unoriginal characters in this whole thing, which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Would that be Korg and Hulk,
Sorry,
or
three. Sorry, three.
and the Brood then would be the number 3, or oh no,
Oh,
oh wait,
four.
oh
Dang it, four. Okay.
well, no, but I mean, like, it's technically
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going, Brian.
it's
We'll keep the
no,
count
no,
going.
No, it's four. Yeah.
but I mean,
Four
like,
out of all the list is pretty crazy.
yeah, it's legitimately a lot of characters. Josh, do you mind tackling there's a couple of artists for this book. Can you tackle the first one?
Right. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, like you said, there was predominantly two artists on this whole book. It was Carlo Pagulayan,
Mhm.
and he is a Filipino artist who's mainly worked with the big two, with DC and Marvel. And I guess we could say like his art style is like typically very clean line work
Yeah.
that really accentuates the human or the not so human and anatomy, along with excuse me, polished backgrounds. And I mean, it really helped with the storytelling of that Greg Pak did. And then Aaron Lepestri,
Mhm.
Lepresti, excuse me,
Well,
Lepresti,
first-
um, was filling in a couple of the arcs as well. And um, it was a great kind of like it was unnoticeable switch between the two, which was good. But
Yeah.
uh, just I'll talk more about Carlo, and then you can get into more of
Sounds good.
Aaron, because there's a little bit more background into Aaron that we need to discuss. But um, Carlo, like some of his other comics have been like Superman Lost, Wonder Woman. He worked on Deathstroke, Elektra, and Batman. And I thought he was great because he was the first one on the book, right?
Yes.
So he was in charge of like designing most of, if not all, these characters.
Yes, the exception being that the cover artist Jose Ladron, which he's like very what we talked about those covers, like he actually designed the gladiator looking Hulk, like he's the
Mm-hmm.
basis of which it came. I will say about Carlo, it was interesting. I was reading a little bit about him. They're like, hey, he was working on the Fantastic Four Adventures, which is the all ages Fantastic Four comic, and they're like, hey, do you
Yeah.
want to give us a sample? He's like, sure, I'll try. I'm not going to get this adult, I'm working on a kid's book. There's no way they're going to give me, Hulk right now. And so he sent in a sample of like what he thought Hulk would look like. He hated his sample so much. He literally redrew it and sent another one like a few hours later. And like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Mm.
We're gonna take him. So good on that cat. You know what I mean?
I really liked his art though too. It really worked with the book, like his backgrounds, the character designs, how he drew the Hulk, which is always pretty hard
Yeah.
because it changes, with the artist. Sometimes you get the very flat top, like
Mhm.
what's the best? He kind of looks like a gosh, what's that Spider-Man mob guy?
Tombstone? Or
No,
or
other one.
Hammerhead? Not Hammerhead.
Hammerhead.
Yeah, it is Hammerhead.
Or Hammerhead, right? Nate is a
Yeah,
Hammerhead?
Yeah, Hammerhead with the
the
yeah,
flat top. The
'cause
mobs the
I
mobs
see what you mean when you like Hulk has actually like looks like a Hulk and not like, oh, here's a dumb, big strong,
Yeah.
monster thing. It actually looks like a very a nice looking Hulk that you can actually follow and look at.
Right. Like it's sometimes it's hard to do. Like um he doesn't go too much in the in the whole like original look. Like sometimes artists are a little bit too much into the original look.
Yeah.
Um
And it's
so
like with that, it's yeah, you don't look at the Hulk in this one and just automatically think like Hulk just being like, me good Hulk, you bad. Me go in.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely not that that Solomon Grundy look is kind of
Yeah.
what you're kinda yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree that and it's funny because like we said, there's a second artist, and, like, I will give both artists credit, like, you don't even notice the switch, and
No,
in a
I don't
good
know.
way. I mean, if you look at it, you can probably tell, but if you're just reading it, you would just like, "Okay, just keep rolling right on through." So
Honestly,
that does bring go ahead.
I'm gonna say honestly, Brian, before you even said like, I'm not sorry, until you said like, oh, there's two artists. I'm like, there's two artists? Are you serious? Like, I could not tell this whole time because it's just like you said, it's so seamless and it
Yeah,
looks
they did a
great.
good job. They did
Yeah,
a really good job. Like, it reminds me a little bit when we were talking about The Invincible, how, like, when, what was
Yeah,
it? Ryan Ottley went to was not right, it was Ottley, it was no, Ottley was it was
with
Walker, was that
yeah.
Kev Walker? Was it Kev Walker?
No.
Who did oh, whatever. When they transitioned from one artist to the next, it's like, it was a seamless transition, but anyway, that's a whole other book. I will do talk about Aaron Lopresti. He is a
Cory Walker.
Lopresti Cory Walker, thank you. That's what it was. Um Lopresti is a American artist who's been in the biz since like the late '80s, early '90s. So he's been around. He's one of those workhorse artists who's always done like solid work and is like known for like, hitting his deadlines. Um, and the fact that he's worked in the biz for 30 years is kind of a testament to that. He's worked on everything from Spider-Man to Justice League. He's kind of had his hand almost in every character or book between the big two. Um, like Pagulayan, he has a very strong command of paneling, detail, and form, as we just mentioned. Like, there's very similar between the two of them. He's never been one of my go-to artists. I've seen the name pop up over the years, and it's just one of those names like, oh, that's cool. I'm never gonna turn it away, but I'm also like not gonna like buy the book because of him. That all said, as I was doing my research for the book, I did see his name pop up tangentially to things like Comicsgate. He was using the hashtag Comicsgate to kind of promote his own work, and he talks to websites like Bounding into Comics. So, like, kind of be aware of that. That all said, he's known for being a very nice guy and working with people no matter what their political affiliation is, and he's very professional. And he tries not, I guess, not to let politics affect it, but take all of that as you will. You know what I mean? So I just want to kind of put that out there. So yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Um, as we had mentioned before, we don't usually talk about the colorists or the cover artists, but I do want to talk about them really quickly. First off, I want to talk about Chris Sotomayor. He is the colorist for the book. And the reason I bring him up is because he was the one who, if you don't notice this in the book, the only green initially in any of the book is Hulk. He decided to use no other green elsewhere in the book until slowly the Hulk blood starts affecting the planet. But like they were like, "Oh, that's brilliant. That came from the colorist." And I thought that was just something that we should give him a little shout out for that because I think it's
that's
just a neat
cool.
little
Yeah,
Yeah,
detail.
didn't
that's a
notice that. That's cool.
very unique way of storytelling.
Yeah, apparently the way idea was that he was going to slowly introduce green as the world of Sakaar starts to accept the Hulk. So that's cool. Like that's
Yeah, that's
interesting. Like
cool.
you don't think of like color as kind of adding into the storytelling, but in this case it was. And as I also mentioned, Jose Ladrone, he's the guy who did all the cover. Not only did he do the covers, as I had mentioned, he's the one who's responsible for the gladiator look of the Hulk. So, and those covers, as we said, are fire.
They're very
I
nice.
So
Yeah.
good.
the one I love the most is funny is the fourth issue. I think it's issue 95. And
5,
that's when
yeah.
he's fighting Silver Surfer. And he's got the
Yeah.
Silver
Yeah.
Surfer has the surfboard as a shield. I was like, that's cool. I've never seen that before. Like
Right.
I've read a lot of comics to see, Surfer in a fight using his board as a shield. Like, that's just dope. That is so cool. So anyway. I digress. What did I mean, you guys all have your opinions on it, but I mean, was there any other covers that kind of like spoke to you?
See, for me, like the very first cover of him of the Hulk just like fighting off monsters in a full gladiator like
Mhm.
suit, it's like that kind of draws you in as well. First, like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then there's just a lot of, like you said earlier, just a lot of action like shots and scenes that are just captured perfectly. That just like feeds into it. Like, yes, this it draws you in. I want to know more. I want to know what's going on here.
Yeah. I almost wish that Ladron had done, an individual issue. You know, because he used to draw. He used to do monthly books. Like he did Cable for a while, and he's done European comics and stuff like that too. But like, imagine if we'd gotten like even like an 8-page or 10 issues, 10-page spread of just him doing that art style. Oh man, that would have been sick. But
And I liked the use of like of color in or
yes,
just how it was colored in
yes,
the covers. It almost like a chalk painting, almost kind of
yeah,
like like one of the Kuber brothers does that, type of.
hmm
It's like it's to the side of that, like it's kind of like in that same kind of umbrella
yeah.
of like the chalk painting, or just kind of, it's not typical like ink type of, like it's almost watercolorish almost,
Mhm.
which I
It's
really like.
gorgeous. Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Well, it's funny you should mention, Nate, the whole idea of like the gladiator getup is what kind of drew you into it, because that's actually going to tie into what I'm about to bring up right now, which is, as you know, we like to kind of get into, before we break down the story, we like to get into the real nitty gritty, the real world context that kind of brought all this story together. So it's like kind of our patented deep dive.
This is
So
this is Brian's corner, so
yeah,
get
just
get
honestly, the
ready.
thing
So
I care the most about, it's like the
go
deep dive stuff. I love it.
go
So
get
you
a
guys can get
drink
a
of
coffee,
water,
yeah,
go get something.
yeah, exactly. I tried to truncate this a little bit because I knew we were gonna be
I
fast on time.
so just for the audience to know as well, like most of the stuff, Brian, you already know. Like it's some of it is research probably beforehand, but Brian is so knowledgeable about the industry, what's going on. Like I've hung out with Josh and Brian, separately outside of work, when we're just talk about comics, and Brian would just like spit off these facts, Josh would spit off these facts, just encyclopedia knowledge. So I think it's really incredible about your involvement and also passion about this.
I will agree with the
Thank
passion.
you.
I'll send you the Venmo later for
Yeah,
that,
right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
no,
you. I
exactly.
got you. Yeah.
endorsement. But thank you. That's very kind of you to say that, and we both, I can't speak for Josh, but I assume we both
No,
appreciate that.
yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, that's what we want to get through on this podcast. It's just like sitting on the couch with us. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, it's true though. I absolutely do love this stuff. I mean, and like I've told this to Josh before. It's like to me, the behind the scenes context I think is just as important, if and is not more even more fascinating at times than the sort of in game content, as it for lack of a better word. You know, I really love how it like all came together. It's like, oh, all these things just lined up, and this is how it all came. But
You know what's
let's get into this.
just
Go ahead.
before you get into, I just like
Sure.
on that though too. Like if you are like us and you like to get like the big nitty gritty of like behind the scenes stuff, read that book. What's that book?
Marvel,
Brian,
the Untold Tales or the
yeah,
Untold
Marvel:
Story.
The Untold Tales, which it
Or,
is. It's very good, and it's like they have an audiobook of it too, in case you don't want to read the real
mhm.
like real words.
Mm.
That has a lot of great behind the scenes info, a lot of this stuff too.
That thing is dense, and
It
it's
is dense, but so interesting.
good dense. The other one, if you wanna follow up to that, there's another one called Slugfest, and it's the rivalry between Marvel and DC,
Mhm.
and it tracks it through the years, and there is an audiobook of that as well, Josh, so if you're looking, like, check that one
Oh
out
yeah,
as well. It's just as good, it's just it's kinda a little bit more of a parallel story, so it's a lot of fun, though.
they have a transcription of a Jack Kirby Stan Lee radio back
Oh,
and forth.
yeah.
That's just like chef's
Oh,
kiss. That's just great. So
That's
just
cool.
for
dude,
that
that
alone,
is brutal.
it's very good.
Oh, man. You
All
can
right.
feel the tension through the pages. Alright, but let's get into
So
this.
yeah. Tell us tell us how we start this whole shindig.
All right, because you know I got to roll the clock as far as I can without getting too far. Let's roll the clock back to 1986. You know,
40
after
years ago.
riding high on the Incredible Hulk TV show, which helped drive sales, Incredible Hulk now is starting to nosedive. You know, and no one, and when I say no one, I mean no one wants to write the book. I think Bill Matlow's doing it at the time, but at this point, no one wants it. It's like it's just cratering. So enter Peter David. We've mentioned Peter David. We've talked about Peter David. You know our thoughts on Peter David. Basically, they come to Peter David and like, hey, do you want to write this book? You're not writing anything right now. You're working in the sales department. He's like, I guess. And they're like, you can do whatever you want. No one cares. Because he just got fired off Spider-Man's, and because like everyone's Spider-Man editorial is like really crazy. So like, yeah, we're gonna pair you up with this guy named Todd McFarlane. Yeah, he's not very good, but you know, you gotta
Yeah, he's all
literally
right.
Literally, that's what they said. He's like, he's not very good, but Larry
he's
Hama
a weird artist who's like really into baseball, like memorabilia. It's kind of weird, but yeah,
it's crazy. Like literally, they're like, this Todd McFarlane guy. They want him off GI Joe. We're gonna saddle him with you. And he's like, sure. He's like, this book's gonna be canceled in 6 months anyway. I don't care. Like like Peter David's like, what? He's like, so he's like, what do you want to draw, Todd? And he's like, I want to draw robots in the X-Men. He's like, all right. So they get to work, and they get to that infamous like Wolverine cover with Wolverine in the claws, and that's when things start to kind of pop off. Next thing you know, 12 years later, sales slowly picked up. It never like blew up, but it was like slowly the sales are getting better and better, and people are talking about it, and everyone's loving it. So cut to about 12 years later, everyone knows the Peter David run is it. He goes like almost 150 issues, like almost uninterrupted. I think there's like only 2 issues he didn't write in that entire run. But Marvel now is like, hey, this whole character, you know what? We want to get involved. And he's like, okay, cool. You haven't said anything and sales have been fine. Now you want to get involved? Like, yeah, we want to make him dumb though. And we want him to fight the Avengers. And he's just like,
I'm sorry. It's just crazy how history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll get when we talk about afterwards, but yeah, no, please continue. But I'm just epiphany of just how crazy history repeats itself.
Well, yeah. You think people would learn, but no. So yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't care. And he pieces out. He's like, I'm out. And so, Joe Casey does a small run. John Byrne jumps on the book for a little bit, and they're all doing like stupid Hulk, and it just doesn't work. And so then they bring Paul Jenkins, and he goes back to the sort of like psychological drama that Peter David been doing. Oh, so lo and behold, sales start to kind of pick back up again. And so at that point, they bring in this writer named Bruce Jones, who focuses more on Bruce Banner and this sort of secret conspiracy to, all this kind of stuff. And it starts off really strong. And I will say the covers of the Bruce Jones run are freaking amazing. Like if you get a chance, I think it's Carrie Andrews who did all the covers. Like he does like these like Norman Rockwell style like art on some of them. It's really cool. But it starts to peter off by the end, and they bring Peter David back for like one last arc, and Peter's like, yeah, that's cool. Nope, But this is where things get a little iffy. Okay, so Peter David comes back. Now, according to Peter David, he's like, he says that he wanted to work on the book, but he had other opportunities. He's like, I just don't want to work on this anymore. I've got other things to worry about. And he pieces out. That's Peter David's side of the story, and like according to his blog. Now the editors behind the book have a little bit of a different telling. According to what I read, is at the time, Daniel Way, one of Josh's favorite writers, was working on a Hulk miniseries. You can interrupt me on that one, Josh. I heard you breathe. I heard the breathing through. Daniel Way is not one of Josh's favorite writers.
How dare you?
Daniel Way, he's working on a Hulk miniseries in which Hulk is going to go into space and fight this satellite. And and it's going to be a miniseries. He's working with Axel Alonso, and he's like, he gets to the end. He's like, it just doesn't ring true. And he brings up Axel. He's like, dude, I want to change the ending. Can I do that? Axel Alonso's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead and do it. Calls back a couple days later. He's like, actually, go ahead and make the change. We're actually going to use the book, and we're going to put it in, instead of making it a miniseries, we're going to tie it into the main Incredible Hulk book. And he's like, okay, that's cool. I wish I had known that earlier. I would have written the story differently. Apparently, Joe Quesada had a vision of a Hulk in armor, like Conqueror armor, and is ready to just mess things up. Kind of to your point, Nate, how you're saying like, oh, is that armor gladiator shot? That's Joe Quesada's vision. That's all he's got. It's like, I got this idea. Hulk's going to be in armor, and he's going to be just like smashing stuff up. So
it's crazy how Quesada is like, oh my God, he is. There's no middle with Quesada in a sense of like, he either hits her right on the money and it's amazing, or he misses completely, much like our last episode that we discussed. But
it's literally Planet Hulk versus One More or A Brand New Day. It's literally like one or the other.
That's the ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So, and Ninjak.
Yeah. Oh, Ninjak looks pretty, man. Don't.
It looks pretty. Anyway. Yes.
Okay. But that's a discussion for another time. So the new editor for Hulk is this guy named Mark Panacea, as we had mentioned earlier, and he got kind of saddled with Hulk. He's like, oh man, I got to do Hulk. Like, oh God, like no one wants to do Hulk. We don't know what to do with him. That's when Joe Quesada's like, hey, I want to do this armor thing. He's like, all right, well, hey, I worked with this guy named Greg Pak. I think he'd be good for this. And so they pitched the idea like, hey, we want to do this thing. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And he comes up with all the he flushes out this entire world for Planet Hulk and all of this stuff. Initially the idea was that they were going to try and make this book a top 20 book. Hint, it doesn't happen. But, they're gonna do something new and different with the Hulk. Um, and while sales do increase by about 5 to 15,000 an issue, it's about the biggest it ever got. So there was some success when they do Planet Hulk, but it never got to like what Joe Quesada was hoping for, which, like I said, was a top 20 book. But you can't deny, real quick, I do want to talk about this, is like, while it may not have like juked the sales at the time, it's no denying like the trades that it has sold since then, or the impact on Hulk and Marvel, because this is now like a cornerstone of Hulk's mythology. And also like just the MCU of it all. I mean, literally Thor Ragnarok is half a Planet Hulk film. You know what I mean? So I would say, while they didn't, in the short term, they didn't make the sales, I would say in the long term, they were kind of successful with this. I mean, I don't know. What do you all think?
I think and forgive me for this analogy, but it reminds me a lot of just how that is of like Boondock Saints, in the sense of like the first one did not do great in the theaters because of the timing and whatever, but the DVD sales and then after the theater market it exploded enough to get a sequel. So I think that's what's kind of like, when it was coming out, it wasn't doing too much because it wasn't even really marketed well.
Yeah.
I would say like it, but then blew up in the trades, and then also just after, like in the zeitgeist of comics, where Boondock Saints kind of every like every weird college kid had the poster in there.
Well, I say poster in their
Josh did.
I know, right?
Josh did.
Okay, maybe we didn't need to say that. All right.
Speaking of experience, Josh.
We watched the sequel together, Josh. I feel like we watched it together.
Okay. Well, I mean, Boondock Saints had Norman Reedus and Willem Dafoe. These little little guys that weren't in anything.
Well, this had Gary, Greg Pak and Gary Frank and all. It's like that's what I'm saying. It blew up after the fact.
Yeah,
that's what I was agreeing with. Like Norman Reedus now and Willem Dafoe now are like are household names.
Yeah.
And, but I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly, because I just for some research in this, I just did a quick Google, like, what are the big Hulk, comics that are out like that everybody agrees on. And if you look it up, Planet Hulk is on everybody's like top 2, 10. Top 3 list.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like
easily.
Yeah. It's like either, Immortal Hulk, Planet Hulk, or the Future Imperium. I think those are like the
Future Perfect.
There it is.
Yeah.
Constantly, but like Planet Hulk goes on every list.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say you bring up Immortal Hulk, because Immortal Hulk was the first time Hulk actually like broke, not first time, but it was like recently that Hulk finally broke the top 20. In fact, it broke the top 5. It was actually when Immortal Hulk was going on, by about issue 16, it was outselling Batman. That's how good Immortal Hulk was.
Wow.
So yeah, it's interesting. Like it took a few years to get Hulk there, but they did get it there eventually. But I don't think, would it have gotten there without Planet Hulk? That's a discussion for another time. But I do want to point out though, real quick, the like Planet, how successful Planet Hulk was, that they either use the whole like thing as either marketing gimmick or for ad sales. So we had She-Hulk, Planet Without a Hulk. You had Planet Sakaar, you had Planet Savage, Planet Red Hulk. You had Secret Wars, Warzone's Planet Hulk, Return to Planet Hulk with Amadeus Cho, Planet Hulk World Breaker, Return to Planet Hulk 1. So like they've constantly reused the Planet Hulk, like, banner, for lack of a better word, pun intended. Look at Banner, Michael.
Look at Banner.
They've used that Planet Hulk throughout, like since then, like ad nauseum. They know how successful that brand recognition is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it even had a little bit of a other than the obvious, the Thor 3, but the She-Hulk.
Yeah.
At the end of She-Hulk too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, his son shows up, which they've never paid that off, right? With the weird haircut.
Yeah,
with a weird haircut.
Right. Just hearing all that list of things, it just, as a huge fan of Planet Hulk, and like, this is a great story. I love it. It's like my top, stories that I want to read. All those, just side stories. I'm like, no, stop.
Stop.
You're
Stop,
killing
stop.
it.
It's
Stop
already
it.
dead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's
already
so hard
dead.
because, not all of those are bangers, and it's like,
No,
this is
they're not.
the number one banger. It's like, just stop.
It's like when you get to like Police
It's
Academy
like Land
6 or
Before
something like
Time.
that.
Before
Or Land
time,
Before
yeah.
Time.
Land
Yeah.
Before Time.
Like Star Wars, it's like, just stop.
Stop,
Don't.
please. Let him rest. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree with you on that one.
Trek.
Yeah.
That I'll disagree with you on, but that's a whole other discussion.
I was hoping you wouldn't hear that. Okay.
No, I heard. It's like I have radar, when that goes off. Well, that's like sort of like the IRL context for Planet Hulk. But let's talk about the sort of continuity history, Josh.
Well, before we get into the continuity history
Please.
of like this specifically, like if you want like more of like a breakdown of the Hulk or just kind of like more info about the Hulk, I think we did a pretty good breakdown of the character when we discussed it in Red Hulk.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Fair enough. Good.
I mean,
good
if you want
tie-in.
some more of that info, thank you. If you want
Good
some
tie-in.
more of that info, I mean, definitely
Let's
check out
pause.
our episode of Red Hulk. We can go after this one.
Yeah, there you go. Fair enough.
But yeah, like
yes.
you alluded to, going to the continuity, the history, like how does this all kind of like kick off in the actual real in my head Marvel universe? The like first was kind of set up in both the Fantastic Four and the Hulk comic, and in Fantastic Four, or the FF, if you will, Hulk gets hit by another gamma bomb and goes absolutely ballistic and nuts, just ripping apart Las Vegas of all places. And by the end of it, the thing is able to like talk him down, like monster to monster. But that was after good old, like if you see Thing and the Hulk in a comic, they're gonna fight.
Better be fighting. They better be fighting.
Right. Or it's like, what are we doing here? It's like him and Wolverine. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
But he makes the joke to Reed about maybe, the only way to get rid of the Hulk is just to launch him in space. And the problem is Reed ain't laughing. I'm laughing. No, they're laughing, but Reed ain't laughing.
Yeah.
And in the ongoing, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say that was the JMS run, Michael Straczynski, when he was writing it. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's and that's also a fun run if you ever want to read that Fantastic Four book. And then on the ongoing Hulk book, Bruce has decided to hide in the Alaskan wilderness, and when he's recruited by Nick Fury to stop a rogue AI satellite from having the ability to nuke the world. And things go as they go with the Hulk, and he fights the giant AI, aka God's Eye, which was that before or after Brother Eye at DC?
I was about to say that. This sounds all like Brother Eye.
Maybe at the same time.
Yeah.
But so he's able to defeat it, and I'm putting air quotes. And he's supposed to come back down to Earth in a space shuttle, but he receives a message from Reed and company now, and this is kind of like the intro to another book after this. But Bruce, we're so sorry, but you left us a little choice.
Yeah,
and those people in that message is actually what we now know as the Illuminati. And they had an Illuminati one shot while this comic came, the Illuminati, one shot came out like while like Planet Hulk was about a few issues deep,
3 or 4 issues in, I'd say.
Yeah, and it does. This is kind of like the first time that we see this, and the whole first time we see the meeting of the Illuminati is to discuss. We have an idea for the Hulk. What should we do? And it's like at first it's Reed, Doc Strange, Black Bolt, Tony, and Nick
Xavier.
And Xavier, and Black Panther. But because of this decision,
it's following the Kree Skrull War. If I remember, it's like when for that first meeting of all of them, and Black Panther's like, the hell are you talking about?" Right?
Well, I mean, yeah, with like Black Panther, that's when they kind of like got together and stuff. But Black Panther was part of this meeting, and he's like, no, I don't agree with what you guys are doing. I'm out of this group.
This will end badly.
Right. And then
yeah,
we find out that they used an LMD to lure him out to. It was like their idea, and ironically enough, the satellite to survive and Reed, along with Fantastic Four, have to head to the Savage Land to destroy the remains. So
yeah, it's crazy because like in that you said that one shot, it's like you said, it's the first meeting of them, and then like Reed's like not Reed, but like you said, Black Panther's like, yeah, this is stupid. You guys should not do this. This is a bad idea. Do not form a secret cabal of you just controlling world affairs. Like this will end badly. Cut to a couple years later, and hey, we're gonna ditch the Hulk in space and send him off. And Namor's like, what? You're gonna do what? Like, no, don't. This is that's what, because he's a monster, and that leads to him and Tony fighting, and it's like, yep, we're still gonna do it anyway. And so you see the impact of like that decision weighing on Tony, but it's like you still did it. Like that's one thing I will say in this era, and I don't know if you were kind of into the comics at this point, Nate, but like this is where you really see Reed is an a-hole, Tony is an a-hole, Doc Strange is an a-hole, Xavier is an a-hole. You know what I mean? Like they're not painted in a good light, and it's like, oh, you guys are just like kind of dicks, man.
Was this around Civil War?
I was just about to say that, Josh. Yeah, this is right before Civil War. Yeah.
Yes, this is so that they didn't also have Hulk around for Civil War.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so the whole time you're thinking like, where the heck's Hulk at? Where, why isn't he involved? And it's like, oh, he's actually on a different planet this whole time.
Yep.
Kind of like
think about.
I was like, kind of like how the Annihilation War is kind of like, hey, that's kind of a side thing going at the same time. Civil War is happening, sure, but more stuff is happening around the galaxy.
Think about how much things are popping right now. If you're like a Marvel fan, like roll back to 2006, you've got Annihilation going on, Planet Hulk going on, and Civil War going on all at the same time. And plus, I'm sure X-Men were doing something too. So I don't
it was off the heels of House of M.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, like that's insane.
And this is peak Bendis too. Like Bendis was the one who was doing Illuminati.
I will tell you right now, like I reread that Illuminati one shot in preparation for this, and like I was like, this is Bendis firing on all cylinders, and I mean that in the best way possible.
It's a perfect Bendis type of book. They're all people sitting around and talking.
And the fisticuffs. No, I'm serious. Like it was. I'm like, this is. When we make fun of Bendis a lot, and like I joke about it, but like literally when he's firing, he is firing, and he was firing in that book, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I think it helped that it was something that wasn't an event essentially for Bendis, and then it was an easy start to an end.
Yeah,
in a sense, like Bendis, I think we find that he has a very good lead up and a very good top line story pitch, but then when we get to the end, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it's true. But like to your point though, kind of rolling back what we're saying, like it is, how messed up is that? Hey, Hulk, you're going to go upstairs, you're going to go into space, save humanity, save the Earth, and now that you're done, we're going to ship you off. And literally just like, hey, we're too chicken-ass, like we're basically too cowardly to actually talk to you in person about this. We're just going to leave you this pre-recorded message that says, sorry, Bruce, we know you're going to be upset, but hey, you know what? You're going to get what you want. It's like an abuser. Like literally, like, this is what you want. We're going to
why aren't you mad at us? This is what you wanted the whole time.
Yeah, you want to be left alone. So we're going to send you to this planet against your will. And you're going to be able to go to this planet, and there's no intelligent life. And there's, just plenty of what's up? Yeah, there's game that you can hunt, and you can finally get what you always wanted, which is to be left alone. So good luck, dude. And then of course everything goes sideways, but we'll get into that in a moment. But like honestly, like what arrogance and dickishness on I mean, honestly, it's like I love the Fantastic Four, but it's been real hard to come back from Reed with that moment. You know what I mean? Him and Tony.
This timeline was not very great for Reed, in particular.
No,
like he's like what this Civil War, and just the arrogance, and him with Tony was kind of like I'm too smart, So why are you going against me? The arrogance of that in like what's funny to me is like the Hulk is a founding member of the Avengers.
The Avengers, and the Defenders,
and Defenders. And I think, and what's funny is Namor is the only one that recognized that. And he's like, I was on a team with him.
Yeah,
this is not a good idea.
It's not a good idea, you dummies. Well, and the other thing too is like as you mentioned earlier, like even after like they're able to take that satellite or Hulk's able, it doesn't destroy, it crashes in the Savage Land, and Reed has to go clean that mess up. And they're just like, and that's where him and Sue start fracturing. She's like, "Is there something you want to tell me like about the satellite?" He's like, no, that's just happened to be a rogue satellite that crashed." And she's like, "We promised we wouldn't lie to each other." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not lying." She's like, "Okay, then I guess I trust you. Yeah, you can trust me." And it's like,
What's
So
funny is
anyway,
I came into this book not knowing this whole backstory. I didn't read the Illuminati before this. I just like came in cold, and so I with Hulk, it's like he's always rampaging. He's always doing this. So I saw this. I was like, okay, read Iron
that
Man,
makes
Stephen
sense.
Strange, and Black. Yeah, they would do that type of crap and send them off, in space, thinking that we're here to help you. I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
believable. Actually, they would do that.
Well, it's funny though, it's like to that end, it's like if you actually look at almost every situation where the Hulk does lose it like that, it's because he either got mind controlled or something happened, like he's provoked. Typically, the Hulk is not provocative in that regard. He literally is like, "Just leave me alone and you'll be fine." But people keep provoking him, and that's what sets things off. And that's it's like, oh, it's that great, when and eventually he's going to come back, but it's that great tweet of, well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't the consequence of my actions.
I will say, and we'll talk about this in a second, I love that, like, when he comes back, 'cause there's a reason he comes back and he's pissed. There's a great line kind of where it's in World War Hulk where like Black Bolt and him are fighting. And if you know anything about Black Bolt, if he whispers, he can destroy a mountain. That's how strong his voice is. And he whispers at Hulk trying to destroy him. And Hulk's like, "I didn't come for a whisper. I came to hear you scream." I was like, "Ho, ho."
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Well, that was funny because that's what made John Romita Jr. want to draw the book when he read that line. He's like, "Yeah, I'm drawing that book." Anyway, but that's all spoilery. So sorry about that.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. We'll sure talk about that on another episode, Nate. We can have you back for that one too, as like a follow up. But so again, just if you haven't read this book yet, spoilers. This is a 20-year-old book, and we're gonna start breaking down the characters and major plot points from this point on. And so, if you're interested in reading it, I think now is the time to press pause and then go read it. You can read it on Marvel Unlimited. It's on Libby or Hoopla.
Or buy the $14.99 trade paperback, the little mini Prestige digest or whatever it's called. Yeah. All right.
So, all right, you back? Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for reading it. Now we're gonna discuss the characters. Now, first and foremost is the Hulk. Now, does he really need an explanation?
I think really. Not. But I do want to make. Oh, go ahead, Nate. Please.
I would say Hulk. Yeah, a little bit of explanation, just because we've seen so many of versions of Hulk. Like, what kind of Hulk is this? Is this just like full on rampaging Hulk, or is it like dumb Hulk?
So that's a good point. It's funny because like a lot of writers write Hulk differently. Some it's like a split personality. It's like obviously you have Bruce Banner, who transforms into the Hulk when he gets angry and then turns into this rampaging monster. Peter David kind of wrote it as like he had multi-personality disorder, and then eventually merged them all together into like smart Hulk as opposed to like malicious Hulk or dumb Hulk or whatever. This one is written as in the way Greg Pak described it, is like he kind of wrote him as like Clint Eastwood in The Man Without a Name, like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trilogies. Like he doesn't talk, he does talk, but he doesn't like talk to people for the most part. He listens, and he'll be awkward, like people like, and he'll just kind of stare at you. He's not stupid at all. He's just angry. And in fact, go ahead. I was going to say real quick, I think you see Bruce in this book like once, maybe twice the entire time. Other than that, it's all just.
I was going to say that at the end of our character breakdown, where one of the characters that we wouldn't really talk about is Bruce Banner, because he, like you said, he's not in it. They have like a conversation, between each other and saying like, "Hey, if we're gonna survive this,
Yep.
I need to be driving, buddy." And
Yeah,
I
driving
think
the train. Yeah.
and I think this Hulk, I would, there's like Nate, you said, there's different names for the Hulk. There's Savage Hulk. There's Joe Fix-It. There's Smart Hulk. I would
Professor
kind of
Hulk.
call this, Professor Hulk. I would kind of call this one Survivor Hulk.
Yeah, you read my mind. Yeah,
Yeah, like
survivor mode this whole time. Yeah,
yeah, like he isn't um like super smart. He's not Bruce Banner smart, which is fine, but he's smart enough.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
He's and he's not what I would say is like after this one I would call that like the Warrior Hulk, but like I think this one's Survivor Hulk.
Well, it's funny because like Greg Pak, where he says that he doesn't think that Hulk has multi-personality disorder. He thinks he's like, no, Hulk is just where Bruce is at that moment. Like you just said, if he's in survival mode, that's where Hulk becomes, like you said, survival mode or warrior or whatever. He doesn't see it. He sees it as just like that. And I would agree with that. He's not stupid by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not like scientist smart. It's like, I'm going to design this rocket and get off the planet. It's like, like, no, but he's like, oh, there's a missile coming. I'm not worried about it because I'm the Hulk and I can survive a missile impact, that kind of stuff.
Strategic.
Yes, that's a good way to
look
at
it.
He
gets like, if he gets hit, he's like, hold on, wait a second. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, now I'm going to do a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing like battle plans and like leading and stuff. Like he's leading his tribe.
Yeah, he's definitely. It's good. Well, speaking of his tribe, his
right?
Warbound. Good transition there.
There you go.
Let's briefly cut through the Warbound. Warbound. Excuse me. Nate, do you want to describe what the Warbound means?
Sure, yeah. The Warbound is basically Hulk's inner group that he has with him, who are other gladiators who are basically survivors with him, who kind of form their own little group of like, hey, we're survivors together, we're in this together, we're going to be a group, and we're going to be in each other's lives forever. We're bound to each other this whole time. You got my back, I got your back, and we trust each other, from here on out.
Great.
Yeah, it's like a forced brotherhood. It's actually no. I'm sorry, not forced, but it's a brotherhood through the trials. I would say,
war. They're bound together by war.
No, for sure, but it's like it's a specific thing in Sakaar. Like it's like a ritual thing. Yeah. It's kind of like a fraternity or it's like you said, it's like a war buddy, but it's war bound. Like,
and that's one thing. Like another shout out to Greg Pak, the writer, because Hulk landed on this planet. It wasn't like, hey, let's all discover what these things are. It's like, no, this culture is happening. They have a whole history. They have all their culture and backgrounds that Hulk's just like, oh, this is what you do. Okay, cool. I'm here. I'm with it. Sure, let's be warbound.
Well, I like too that the friendships grow and he's resistant all the way up to a certain point where he's like, nope. Like he's like, I want to be alone. Leave me alone. I'm not here to help you. And like slowly they creep into him and like a vine, like dig in. And he finally is just like, this is my family. This is who they are. I like that. And it's gradual. It doesn't happen in the first issue. It doesn't happen by the 5th issue. It's a slow roll. So I really enjoyed that. Well, let's talk about his Warbound. I want to talk about Korg for a second. If the name sounds familiar, it's because he was played by Taika Waititi in the Thor Ragnarok movie. He's a Cronin warrior, made of stone, whose origin, through retcon, dates back to 1962 into Journey into Mystery number 83, which is the first appearance of Thor. And that's where Thor fought him, and he was like, whoa, if this is what humans are, we are not invading here. Turns out they're like, oh, it's just that one guy. But they didn't know that when they attacked Earth. He's tough, strong, and he's arguably one of Hulk's most reliable allies. I think that's a
very different from the Ragnarok, though, too.
Yes.
Yeah, Ragnarok was much more comparable. Well, speaking of different from the Ragnarok, do you want to tackle Meek?
Yeah, Meek is also very different. Like Korg and Meek were more of like a comedy
duo
for the movie. Like Meek is very like different in a sense, like he's a native bug of Sakaar, his race, and specifically his hive were subjugated and enslaved, and most of his people are. They're colonized basically, and they're slaughtered by the Red King and Imperials of Sakaar, and he's actually one of the Hulk's first allies and friends in the arena. And he eventually like kind of goes into a cocoon and like metamorphosized to like into a king, and like because of just his role of liberating his people, people or just his race.
Yeah, people's fun.
Yeah, he becomes like a larger and more armored version of his race, which I and he kind of like ups his strength too level to where he's like base, like that's also one thing. Just like everybody in this warbound are at least base level Hulk strength, which is something to mention too, and that's where Meek kind of gets up to.
Because he's the weakest initially, or not the weakest, but he's one of the weakest initially.
He is, and I like how he calls everybody two hands.
Two hands,
because he's and he has this thing called Kemming, something like that, where it's almost like a hive mind, but he can do with other people as well, or other beings as well. So
nice. I think that's pretty good. Nate, do you want to tackle the I believe I can't pronounce her, Kyra?
Yeah,
let's say Kyra.
Yeah, it's Kyra. She is the bodyguard of like the main villain of the story, the Red King, who kind of rules over the whole planet. She's one of the shadow people of Sakaar, who kind of like they're basically kind of more like monks or just very much in their cultural old ways. But she also has what's called the Old Power, that it's an unofficial version of the power cosmic, where her skin gets really hard and she has very much super strength, I would say, comparable to the Hulk, where she kind of like kicks the Hulk's butt a couple times. Eventually she kind of turns her back on the Red King, as we get a little bit later, but she also joins Hulk's warbound and becomes his queen.
Nice.
She's very like Wonder Woman-esque in this, I think. And she's in just to like more of this like old was it the Old Stone power or something like that, where
Old Strong,
she's like Old Strong, that's what it is. She's like the only one that has that specific power
ability.
And that's why she was kind of exactly, and she was sought out by the Red King because of that. And she's such an interesting character of just the back and forth of her loyalty and then also her ethics.
Well, that's the thing, is I think, and we'll get into that in a second, but it is that it's like she's like, hey, yes, Josh, yes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's exactly
it's all good.
I have more to say, but then I'm like, we're gonna jump ahead. I'm like, just shut up. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, like Nate said, like the shadow people are like monks who are but it just they're more into the prophecy of the Sakarsan.
Yes, which the World Breaker versus the Sakarsan.
Yes.
Well, speaking of shadow people, there's also another shadow person. And I'm not going to butcher this one.
Heroine.
Heroine.
That's how they pronounce it.
Yeah. He's another one of the warbound. He's also a shadow person, and he's basically a priest / monk / warrior. He's kind of also the silent type for the most part, from what I recall. And then just he's warbound though. He's along for the ride.
He's like the Hurium, the shamed. Or something like that, because of he had some hubris that he thought he was the Sakarsan.
Yeah, he thought he was the Sakarsan. That's right. I love this next character, and their name is No Name, because they're a brood. And if you know anything about the brood are basically just like the xenomorphs of the Marvel universe. In this case, No Name, she is she's that because she's part of the hive mind of the brood, and her hive got wiped out. As we mentioned, they're the brood are typically like a longtime nemesis of the X-Men, and they're a little bit more evolved than a xenomorph, but that's what they are. They're xenomorphs for all intents and purposes. Josh, can you tackle Archie?
Yeah, we have Archie 5912. He's a Wildbot from Sakaar, and he's it was also known as like a Autochron.
Not an Autobot, an Autochron.
Autochron, yeah. So basically, it's just like a extraterrestrial robot that Hulk meets in the arena pits and becomes like a very, very loyal warbound and kind of like the technical guy to help them out.
He just frats a lot. It's pretty fun.
It's fun. He's actually really he's for a robot, he's got a lot of spunk. I was like, "Oh, yeah." Like, you figure, like, robots are gonna be, like, very mechanical. He's like, "No, he talks ass. He
You
talks a
got a
lot of
lot of
ass."
spunk, kid. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nate, do you wanna talk LOA? I can't pronounce that
LOA.
name. LOA. You got
Anyway,
it right.
So she is also one of the warbound. She's one of the what they call them pinks or
Yes.
yeah,
pinkies. So she
Yes.
is probably
Imperials.
that's what Hulk
yeah,
calls
the
them.
Imperials. It's the same race as like basically the bad guys, the bad people. But she is part of the revolutionaries to kind of take over from the Red King, and she joins the group. But she's very much hard headed. Kind of just leaps into things without really thinking.
Indeed, yep.
She kind of just she kind of fractures the group a little bit sometimes, and doesn't listen to the Hulk. He's like, Hulk doesn't know what he's talking about. We're going to do this thing instead. And
Mhm.
that kind of gets her in trouble sometimes. And she's a loose cannon.
Mhm.
She's the
What I
wild
love, though, is,
card.
again, I was gonna say, she starts off like they're like, "What abilities do you have?" She's like, "I have nothing, but I
Yeah.
will learn."
Yeah.
And she literally I think they say she's, like, one of the best melee fighters, period, like, in the Marvel Universe. I think it's, like, where she ends up, if I recall, but I could be wrong about that. Um, that kinda leads us to the big villain. Josh, you wanna talk about the Red King?
Yes, so the big villain is the Red King, who's the head pinky, and this guy is a POS. So
Yes.
he's like from the beginning, he is one of those I guess like the best way is just like he hides behind this huge like a lot of Sakara is like a mixed bag of technology and like medieval type of
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
stuff, and he has like all the technology, but all he's a dictator, he's a fascist, he is the best characterization of him is
Mm.
Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator.
Gladiator, yeah,
Josh, stop
exactly.
beating me on this. Yes. I
Yeah.
was about to say, yeah. Is watch the movie Gladiator, and this is yep, that's exactly what's going on.
It's basically that. I mean, there's some moments in this book where you were like, "Oh my," especially when we discuss it towards the end of just how much of POS this guy is. And
Yeah.
he uses uh different types of manipulation and weapons to get what he wants, and
Yeah.
you are rooting for his downfall
Yeah.
It's
throughout
like,
this
hey,
whole from the beginning.
and it's like, hey, a bunch of people died. He's like, yeah, so whatever.
Well,
No, I was gonna we're gonna talk about that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
later on where
I was
he's
gonna
like, "Oh,
say
am I supposed to cry?"
yeah,
I was gonna say, I have a couple quotes I wrote down, like, 'cause I wanna talk
yeah.
about Pox writing, but I'm gonna use 2 of them right here. There's one of my favorite ones is, like, he's the hive will die." It's, it's like Meek's people are from his not his hive, but they're from his race. They're like, "The hive is gonna die." It's like, "We've all got problems."
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm like, "What?" We all it's like, "We've all got problems." Like, "Damn."
Yeah.
Okay. But we'll get into some of that later. Let's break down the book. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get going on this one, because this one how many issues is this? This is quite a bit of
It's
issues, right?
it's if I recall, 14 issues. Well, 15 if you add the giant
Giant
sized
size?
issue. Basically, it's broken up into like 3, 4 issue
Yeah.
arcs plus 1, 2 issue, sort of like I won't say denouement, but like it's like an addendum, almost like. And we'll save it for when we get there. But I do think that those last 2 issues, in a weird way, shouldn't be a part of this story. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
Uh,
But, so let's start with part 1, which is called Exile, and that's, issues 92 through 95. And like we kind of have discussed a little bit before, Hulk has crash landed on Sakaar after raging out and throwing the ship off course, when he gets that message from the Illuminati, and it kind of goes into a wormhole. And Hulk is quickly like subdued and enslaved because going through the wormhole really weakened him, and he's still pretty strong, but he's kind of like it's almost uh like Superman who just had a little bit of brush with kryptonite, where
yeah.
he's not dead, he's just weakened, and he's thrown into the gladiatory arena. So
I was gonna say
he,
real quick, and I was gonna say real quick, Josh. I was gonna say, and I'd love to have both of your things. Like I said, Josh, you read Hulk, Nate, you didn't, and we we went talked about this, but how was this as like an introduction to everything? Like you said, you've got all these new characters, you've got the Hulk, you got a new planet, you've got new aliens, you've got all these new rules. Like, did you think that Pac was able to just nail this, or did you have to kind of go back and recontextualize everything? I'll start with you, Nate.
I think so. Going into a cold, I was like, oh, sent off to a different planet in a spaceship. Okay, he was betrayed by his friends. Okay, that could probably happen at any time.
Mhm.
But then just getting to this new world, Pop did a great job. Just like you just thrown into it. There's these
Yeah.
bunch of people. They have these different rules. You kind of get to know the structure of like who's in charge. You definitely get introduced to the Red King at first, and you very much quickly learn the rules of this planet or like their system. But it doesn't slow down. He doesn't like explain things for you. It's just hey, you're thrown in, hang on for the ride, and it's a great writing where you are able to kind of keep up with it and be like understand quickly like okay, here's what's happening, here's what's going on, and it's very much of like show don't tell. Some
Mhm.
of it's like where they kind of took down the Hulk pretty easily. Like, oh wait, crap, he didn't just smash everything. Okay, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good way. What about you? What about you, Josh?
Just what I liked about this whole thing was to me it's like a no duh, but oh my god storyline. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
oh my gosh, of course this would work, and why hasn't anybody like thought
Yeah,
about
Done this
this until now?
before.
yeah,
Like this is one of those things like we've been staring at like this a great idea of the possibility in the face, and I'm so glad it was done this well already.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it does like what Nate was saying was show don't tell. Like you see right away, like not only does like the whole get beaten, he gets beaten like easily. It's not just like oh that was a pretty hard fight, and like it was just kind of like and you have the slave disc, boom, done.
Yeah.
You're here now, like and also just the idea of like of course like they would get together and try to put him on a different planet and something goes wrong. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a great idea that you can't believe nobody has thought of yet,
Mhm.
and then still done well. Because
Yeah.
sometimes that's a mixed bag. Like sometimes
Yeah.
there's like, oh, it's such a great idea, but it was just the execution was just
Which
so
was
bad.
off. Well, that's what I'm gonna say. That's where I think like Pac really nails it. It's like it I don't want to say there's like brevity here, but it's like it doesn't treat you dumb. It's like you're
Mhm.
just like, expected to go along with it, but at the same time, like he clearly defines every character feels very clearly defined. The stakes feel clearly defined. The world feels clearly defined. Yet at the same time, it's not like this like just pages of exposition like a Claremont book. It's like oh, you get it, like you just said, Nate, too, through like through the paneling and through the art. It's like it's show don't tell. It works. It is very effective storytelling, and for, like, basically a first-time writer, I mean, like, yeah, he had done a few books here and there, like, you gotta give him credit, like, right out the gate, like, to nail this world, and that's just the first issue, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, "Oh, we know what's happening now, we know the characters, we know what's going on, let's go," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just looking
that's
through it. Like I have it open right now, and I'm just realizing how much is in that first issue. There's so
yeah,
much happening in that first issue that
the
just grabs you and like, okay, you're along for the ride. Let's do it.
Well, it's crazy too is like, the gladiator stuff in this book only goes for 4 issues
Yeah.
before it's like everything is done. And it feels it reminds me of like, I don't know if you ever read it. There's a Daredevil run where Daredevil ends up in prison with like the king like Bullseye's in there and Punisher's in there. It's like, oh man, it's like it feels like this like powder keg that's about to explode. And when I read it, I remember it taking place like, oh, it took a place. He was in prison for a year. No, it was 4 issues. It's so well crafted, and this is the same thing where it feels like the Gladiator stuff went on for, like, issues and issues, like, no, it's, like, 4 issues, and then it's moving on, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And I love in this first issue how it shows also just the hierarchy of
Mhm. Yeah.
they had that 300 moment where he made the god king bleed,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
towards the end where
the
it's just
slash on
like already he's like, okay, you're not as infallible as you thought you were.
yeah.
And that kind of, but kind of drives the rest of the storyline of why the Red King is so
adamant to get him.
Adamant to kill him because he got shown up.
Yeah. Well, let's finish out this first arc and let's talk a little bit more about that. Josh, do you mind?
Yeah. So as Hulk and his Warbound continue to like rack up wins in the arena, because they have like, it's like the Gladiators where you have to keep winning to get your freedom. They are pursued by rebels looking to overthrow the imperial rule, or the emperor, and this all comes to a head when they meet their final opponent. It's like the final round, like you win, you get through, and it actually turns out to be the Silver Surfer, or the Silver Savage, who has been enslaved because of the wormhole as well.
All of them have that, like, I was gonna say, all of them have that, like, it was like a slave disc or something like that, what it's called? Yeah, so they can't, like, just, like, break free, even though he's got the power cosmic or whatever. It's like, yep, you're stuck here under their rule, basically.
Right. And that was a cool surprise to see the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, absolutely. The Silver Savage is what they call it.
Silver Savage. Even though it was kind of like, they did the whole like introduced in the issue before and then showed him in the cover afterwards with that cool image that you were talking about, where he has like this huge Warhammer like ball with spiked hammer. Morningstar, yeah, and using his surfboard as a shield, which is a cool, like, again, like one of those like, oh, that's such an idea that's like, why hasn't anybody thought of it yet?
Yeah, exactly. It is such an iconic image, just like the usage. But I will say the imagery before, like you said, where they mic drop the last of the to be continues, like, oh my god, the Silver Surfer, oh, you're in trouble, dude. You're in trouble.
Because the Silver Surfer has beaten the Hulk before. Like, he has control of energy. He's taken the gamma radiation out of the Hulk and turned him back into Banner.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, this is a moment where, as you read through the book, at least for me, I first started it, I was like, okay, I'm interested. This is kind of cool. This is cool. Silver Surfer, are you serious right now? Like, this is a whole nother level, because there's not many, like you said, he kind of go toe to toe with the Hulk, and not many people can where you take him seriously. No. Like, okay, here, this is getting serious now, and I'm in.
Yeah. So what ends up happening when they fight the Hulk, or when they fight the Surfer?
The Silver Surfer kills the Hulk, and then at the end of the Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
So ultimately the Hulk destroys the control disc and inadvertently kind of frees Surfer, who frees everybody else, and in turn, the Hulk and company just start tearing this mother down, and they head off into the wilderness. But in these battles, like, the Hulk had bled. And you see his blood has kind of gone to the crack of the grounds, and you can start to see that life is starting to grow from his gamma radiated blood.
Yeah. I do love that when he sees the Surfer, he's like, it's my friend. And then just whack, he's like, oh no.
Right. Defend from work. Yeah.
Which, they pulled it from you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it basically is that, but yeah, like, and he's like, you son of a bee. And yeah, he's like, I love that he pounds on the Surfer so much and breaks the disc. He's like, thank you so much. Bam. He just keeps hitting him. Just like, he's like, you free. Nope. No, stop, dude. He's already dead.
Yeah.
And the Silver Surfer's also like, hey, I got that disc too. So sorry, dude, but I'm walking away. You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do like Pock's writing, and like, like one of the reasons he got hired onto the book was his dialogue. And like I mentioned that, the hive will die. Well, we all got our problems. One of the things I liked, there's a line when I think it's Hulk is fighting Carrera. She's like, you can't beat me. This isn't your world. And he's like, not yet.
It's like, oh, here we go.
I love that. Or like, in the stupid lines like Hulk slash. I was like, that was so stupid.
So good.
But I will admit, my favorite moment is like when he gets hit with that control disc and the Emperor's like, you're gonna kneel. He's like, the Hulk doesn't kneel. Zap, unconscious on the ground. He's like, well, that's close enough. Just love those moments,
And then just going on, there's an interlude with the Banner War. It's like Giant Size Hulk #1. And really there's a bunch of like different Hulk stories in this, but the one that like delves into like the Planet Hulk, it's like we have a quick interlude as we see like the Hulk and Banner confront one another and basically kind of give us a reason why Banner is not seen in Planet Hulk at all. And it's just kind of like, buddy, if we're gonna survive this, I need to be the driver's seat. You need to take the step back. And Banner, because Banner's very smart, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. You go ahead, man.
It's funny. There's a what if comic, like What If Planet Hulk, and it's only a one page, and it's obviously done jokingly, but it's like, what if Banner had arrived on Planet Hulk and he instantly gets killed and he just dies?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, that was the end of that. It's a good thing Banner didn't show up. I love the moment too where Meek sees Banner, and he's like, what the? And he rubs his eyes, and then it's suddenly the Hulk in that same shot. He's like, I don't know. I like that little paneling. But the funniest thing I thought was interesting, there's in that same sequence, you see the Iron Man in his memory get like ripped in half, and you see Wolverine on the sideline saying like, "Oh man, I'm glad that's not me," or better him than me. Which, if you know, at the time was, I think it was Ultimate Wolverine versus Ultimate Hulk.
Yeah,
Wolverine gets ripped in half, right?
He does. Yeah, and it was, I don't know who wrote that.
David Lindelof.
Lindelof? Oh, okay.
Lindelof.
And then it was Lineal Yu was the
Lionel Francis Yu. Yeah. Francis Yu. What's crazy is that he wrote those issues right when Planet Hulk was coming out. So it was like, I think like a month or two before. And then those were the first two issues. And then we didn't get the next issue until like 3 years later.
Yeah,
literally 3 years later. It was like one of the worst jokes, but anyway.
So
part 2.
Let's just keep going into to part 2, because I think we all kind of discussed how much we liked the part 1. And any other thoughts though before we move on to part 2? I should say.
Nah.
Let's move it on. Part 2, which is called Anarchy, and it's issues 96 through 99. Throughout this whole thing, the Warbound is on the run from the Red King's army, and they attempt to take refuge in a small kind of farming town. As we kind of get more of Meek's backstory and find out like kind of the fate of his of the hive. And I mean, basically they're either enslaved or they're killed. Like it's very what's the word I'm thinking of? It's dark, but also kind of like, hey, it's kind of American history.
There's that. Well, yeah, it's. I was gonna say that's. I mean, Meek is understandably upset, and he has every justification to want to, because there's a character called the Headman who was like in charge of a lot of this, like enslaving his people and then like killing and subjugating his people. Like, Meek has every right to be angry and upset, and when you find out that like, oh, they're still alive and they've been hiding them from these people, like, like. I love the ending, where it's like they find the slaves hidden underneath the ground, and it's just like it cuts to their entire town just razed, and all the people are still alive. You didn't kill them.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened to the monsters? There's no one here but us monsters, basically, is what the Headman says.
Yeah, he saw the reflection of the guy's armor, and he was like looking at himself as the monster. Which, crazy enough, how even in this crazy kind of planet where there are actual like robot monsters or monsters, they still call Hulk in his Warbound monsters. Like it doesn't matter where Hulk is, he's still being called a monster. Like he can't get away from that. But also like in this, he kind of runs with it.
I was say that's just good propaganda to make to demonize your enemy.
Yeah. And like I liked how Meek had like this duel against the guy, but he kind of took the high ground from it.
The high ground
on it.
Which later on they're like, we should not have done that.
Right, exactly.
That's one of the first times that Meek like steps up and like, no, I'm fighting this guy.
Oh, for sure.
This whole time he's like, no, I'm gonna hide behind Hulk. This time it's like, no, I got this guy. We need to square up.
For sure, because he sees like the plight of his whole hive, who he thought was completely gone,
wiped out. Yeah,
too. And
well, then that's when we first hear like the line that kind of carries out from here on. What Hulk says is to never stop making them pay, and that's kind of what Meek kind of takes on heart. On his like his new moniker.
Too close to heart.
Yeah, exactly. So it just comes up later, just like never stop making them pay.
Yeah,
which again. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I understand. I mean, I understand where the Hulk is coming from. Like, later on, he's like, we gotta like bury the hatchet, but like Meek's like, no, not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But we can get to that in a second.
Yeah. It's like a time and place type of thing. But moving on with more of the story, like more and more Imperials and slaves are either joining the Hulk and coming, or at least, are fighting in his name. And the Hulk is kind of smash his way through and says, like, and kind of be like Hulk about it, where he's just like, I don't want any part of your stuff. I'm just trying to I'm trying to do my thing, but also, if we got to smash a couple heads, that's fine. But I'm not a revolutionary. I'm not this great leader. Like, I just want to be left alone. And uh, with that, like, Meek transforms into his final form, which is kind of like a king version, while the Red King continues just to be a jerk. And um, because the Hulk doesn't want to help fight, Meek kind of starts a fight with the Hulk, and um, that convinces the Hulk really to continue his war and take on Kyera. It's Kyera, right? That's how we said it. I mess up the name while we're
It's
in the
Kyera or
same episode.
Syra. Like, I've heard both.
Kyera, yeah. Let's just do Kyera, and they get in this fight, and like, she's not only like, the Hulk is brute strength. Well, she is strength with training.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like this explosive fight in like this like one-on-one battle. And it kind of takes them both out a little bit. But because the Hulk kind of like brings the fight to them, and he's getting stronger and he's getting more dangerous, the Red King launches the spikes, which, I mean, how would you like describe the spikes?
Well, if you're asking me, I describe them as the Borg, because we had to get our Star Trek reference in there. The Borg meets organics meets like zombie warriors. Especially, you get infected with a spike and you get mutated, and you just become like this organic monster, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's right. That's right. Yeah, it kind of like, there's like a deadly spore almost.
Yeah, yeah. Which, real quick, I was gonna say to that, this could have just been like a thing where it's like, oh, here's this deadly spore thing that we're gonna have to fight against. But like Pac, we'll see this in the next arc, but like Pac develops this. It's like, oh no, there's a backstory to this too. That's just as integral and important to the story. It's not just like mindless, spore zombies. Like, no, these are also something that has to be resolved. And I thought that was really neat. But
yeah, it wasn't something for something's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was good. But continuing on, the Hulk and company are able to fight the spikes back, but not before like the Red King drops a nuke on them, and all this village of just innocents, and Kayer is like finally over it, because like the Red King
didn't literally holding a child. She's holding a child.
That just goes to ashes in her arms. It just that was heartbreaking.
That was a powerful image. Yeah.
Yeah. And
what does she say? She's like, it's gonna be okay, or just close your eyes, baby, or something. I forget what she says. And he's just like, oh no.
Just close your eyes. Yeah.
But then the Red King is just like, hey, I know you're in the area. It's probably gonna kill you. My bad. See you in the next life.
Well, he's also just like, he's like, I know you can't kill him, so I'm just doing your job for you. So like, get over it. Like, he is an ass,
Yeah, and he does stuff not to save them too, like the way he like firebombs an area, but just to move the spikes towards the Hulk, and not to get rid of the spikes, where the spikes at the time, where they thought was just an unrelenting, unmovable type of thing, or like uncontrollable type of thing. So yeah, he's kind of a jerk. And so she joins Warbound, and kind of just makes that final group addition. And this is how like arrogant the Red King is. He sends a broadcast team as kind of like entertainment. Just to be like, hey, this is going to be the demise. And the Hulk gets on the broadcast and tells like the Red King, like, I'm coming for him. And
I love it. The Emperor's just like, bring it on.
Yeah. That's how arrogant he is. It's like he doesn't realize he's not the main character of the story.
It's great. It's a good way to look at it.
In this village, though, Meek also finds like the Hive Queen, who's been enslaved, and then sadly gets infected by the spikes. So
Yeah.
this Hive Queen has been the only one keeping their race kind of going
Alive.
and
Yeah.
alive, and her death means almost the extinction of his race.
Yeah. It's interesting too because like Hulk gets hit with a spike and he just rips it out. He's like, yeah, I don't, it's like,
Yeah.
no big deal. And he's like, flamethrower me. And they're like, why? He's like, oh, I was itchy. I was just itchy.
Yeah, which he's the only person to have ever done that. I guess
Yeah.
too. Like that's what it was. Yeah, we'll come to a bigger thing later on, but it's nobody's been able to like resist the spikes.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of this second part? I think this is where kind of like a lot of the good like good story part of this happens, like a lot of the action, a lot of like the camaraderie coming
Yeah,
together and stuff like that. I think it's
I was
really
gonna
good.
say this is for me, like, a lot of character building. This is, like, where we see the characters grow and develop and become friends, and, like, they have to make those decisions, like, okay, you said Hulk is kinda farting around like, "Oh, I don't know if I will or I won't." It's like, no, this is where, like, you have to put foot to the pavement and start making decisions, and I think this is what this arc is really about, is, like, to make that final decision. Because going into the next arc, that's where, like, it hits the fan, you know what I mean? Like, everything
Yeah.
changes after this. So I enjoyed just like you said, like the moment with the Headman and with Meek. I like that you brought up Nate, how like Meek's like, oh, he took what Hulk said a little too close to heart. You see Kyera's like change in character. I like all of like the development that happened. I wouldn't say it was like a lot of there is action, but it's more, I would say, more character moments than the other two arcs, or at least that'd be my
Mhm.
take on it.
It's really more the
I think
emotion gets into it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
for sure.
And I like it too because this shows like, okay, they're out of the gladiator pits. Now they're kind of like more of like, okay, this is kind of a war now. This is not just like one-on-one fights. And you see more of the hero and Korg's like contributions to like, no, we didn't think about
Yeah.
strategy. This is a trap. Don't do it. Or like, hey, let's spring a trap, in this way. And one thing I forgot to mention while we are talking about the art, and I just saw a reminder again. So when um Kyra, like, punches Hulk, it's kind of a big, overall page, in the book, but you don't see that a lot in this entire book of big splash pages or, like, big,
Mhm.
like, huge, fancy art. It's very contained, which is I really like about it. It's just very clean, and it's not overused. It's like, if it's a big moment, yeah, you take the whole page for sure, but it doesn't need every single little thing to be a huge splash page.
It's funny you should say that because it was one of the things that Pak, who has a background in filmmaking, the artist talked about is like, oh yeah, he forced us to think a lot more cinematically. Like he was very detailed with like how he wanted the panels to look. Like, hey, we're going to shoot from this perspective, or we're going to draw from this perspective, so you can get the frame. So he was very involved, at least in terms of like his scripting on how he wanted it to look. So I think that's a good point.
I agree, and I do like the point Nate you said. It's like it's more like we're getting to the war part of the book because you see the Hulk becoming more of a leader that everybody wants him to be, and he's kind of more accepting of that role too.
Yeah,
And their thing is strategic. They're going through different avenues. Like they split up. They do divide and conquer basically. So yeah.
well, let's move on to
So
part 3 then. Yeah.
moving on to part 3, which is called Allegiance. This is issues 100 through 103, and in this one, the Hulk and the Warbound, lead their growing army toward Crown City to overthrow the Red King, and they take on the Spikes. Hulk communicates with their leader, with Meek, like able to discuss with them, and instead he does it instead of like going all Hulk smash on them, which is way different than a normal
Mhm.
Hulk story. And he learns that they were forced to feed due to a crash landing and was able to form like a tenuous alliance because they kind of basically ate like star matter or like
Yeah.
radiation or something throughout and then they crash landed on the planet. Then the Red King kind of put them back into ships and put them into orbit, and he uses them as like missiles. And but they're starving on those ships, and they're becoming more and more like feral. and that's why he uses them as like a weapon. Which, I mean, he used it so he could basically get Kyra up as his bodyguard. Like he basically wiped out her village just to find her, which was crazy.
Well, what's interesting too is
As a
like to that
kid.
man, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the other thing too is like he these things, if the populace is so scared of these things, like they're like essentially it's like our version of like, you know, in a zombie apocalypse, like, oh, we're if they get free, we're done. We're gonna have to wipe the continent out. That's how scared the populace is of these things. You know what I mean? So it's a very effective weapon, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of like a what's the it's like it's a bomb of bees. Like you can uncork it, or you know you can throw the bomb, but you can't control it after that. And he knows
Yeah.
that, and he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
So after that, the Shadow Elders kind of test the Hulk to see if like he is the prophesized like Sakaar son, which is basically like the savior of their world, or the world breaker, which is destroyer. But they kind of find him too full of rage to be the savior. I'm a big surprise. The Hulk too angry.
What?
I know, like what's next? Batman doesn't like crime. That was horrible. I'm just gonna move
Nice.
on. Meanwhile,
Nice.
by the way,
I was like, well, so where's he
launches.
going with
I'm
this?
moving on. I'm moving on. Meanwhile, it launches a premature assault on Crown City that turns out to be a trap. Oh, of course, requiring the Hulk and his reinforced army to rescue her. And in the trials, he's just kind of like, all right, I failed. Whatever. I'm just here for the ship. So let's use the ship and let's look. From the ship, they use an EMP blast kind of disable the Red King's technological advantage, and the Hulk does the final, you know, confrontation with the Red King and defeats him in combat, preventing really the tyrant from destroying the planet's crust, which he kind of goes in and pulls back the world basically with his bare hands, and with the Red King dead and the war kind of won, the people of Sakaar like kind of look to him as the Green Scar and lead, and they want him to lead and rule their world. And every king needs a queen, so he gets married. Excuse me. And like what's the line, Brian, that was like really good about this one?
Yeah, they were talking about it's like, well, we're gonna give her as a bodyguard. He's like, I don't want a shadow guard. I want a queen. It's like, yeah.
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 And this is
go ahead. Good.
I'm sure with this one, is this the part two where you kind of see like the deal with the devil that he made, or not devil, but like with excuse me, the spikes, or is that the next one? I can't remember.
I believe the next issue is where the spikes.
Yeah.
That's the next issue where the spikes get off the world. Because like, I was gonna say, like, I feel like this is where Planet Hulk should end. It's like it ends with him getting married. He's got his queen. He's in charge. Everyone's kind of listening to him. We get 2 more issues after this, and this is where things change. But that's just my opinion. What do you think, Nate?
I, I think this section overall is really good. It's a good conclusion to this overall story. I do think that, yeah, it's good. You know, ended here is you're in a good spot. I did really want to like talk about the line as we're, you know, highlighting some great lines that are in this book when when the Hulk kind of jumps into the Earth's crust to kind of fix everything for the planet breaking apart. It says, "This is the part where the world breaker unbreaks the world." I was like, "That's actually a good line." Um,
Yeah.
but I do think that, yeah, this is like, hey, everything's great, everything's happy at this end, everybody's kind of just starting to mesh together, we're good to go. So I do see why your thoughts on like, hey, it could have ended here. And
Well,
let's end it happy.
You want a happy ending,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
also the Hulk.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
also
but I was
the
gonna
whole.
say that's where, but that's what I'm saying is like I think this is where this part of the story should have ended, and the next part is where the next story picks up. It definitely ends on a cliffhanger, like, well, not a cliffhanger. It's like, oh well, we know what's gonna happen next, but it's like the next arc. Well, let's just talk about it, and I can talk about why I think that
well,
is.
I want to talk one part though too when
yeah, please, sorry.
Kara they have their kind of like wedding ritual.
Yeah,
and she's like, because she had already seen a little bit of the Banner. She like the quick kind of glimpse of Banner, and she's like, I need to see all of you. And so he turns back to Banner, and Banner's like, hi,
yeah, this way.
So this is me, but she still loves him, and then he turns back into Hulk because I think that was a really good moment, because I think through
she loved him.
Exactly. But also it's like throughout most of the Hulk's kind of history, it's always been Banner and Betty. But now the Hulk has a love interest a little bit. That.
Well, and I think at this point in the comics, Betty's dead, I think, still at this point. I don't think she comes
Betty
back.
Not dead? It's like,
well, they killed her at the end of the Peter David run, but I think they bring her back for the Jeff Loeb run, which comes in a little bit later, because then she's like Red Hulk Harpy or something like that. I forget what it is. But I think
we talked about it. It was like a whole like the Watcher was there, and it was,
I don't like it. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. And actually, Josh, that's a really good point, because that is a really good moment. And it really points to why she's such a great character. She accepts him everything, flaws and all. If you want to argue that Banner's a flaw or Hulk is a flaw, whatever, it's like, she's like, I love you for everything that you are, and I think that's a really good moment, which again leads into why I don't like it's one of the critiques I have of this whole thing, but we'll get into that when we talk about the next arc.
And I like just that you kind of at the beginning of the story, you kind of like, yeah, they're gonna get together a little bit, but then because they have that, she has that the strength, and you just kind of have a feeling like, oh, okay, yep, he's gonna be with her. But again, it's you didn't know it'd be that much. And I like the line where Korg is just like, oh, what are we going to do for the second date, after like they stop, like they stop the spikes with like lava or something, or lava monster or something. It's like, so, and Meek's he's like, what are they going to do for the second date? Meek's like, what's a date?
Yeah. So it's wasn't that one of the recurring jokes too? Like, oh, he wants a sandwich. What's a sandwich?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was a great recurring joke.
But yeah, so I mean, that's some great moves at the end for there. And then moving on to part 4, which is Armageddon, which issues just 104 and 105. Hulk is king. He's rebuilding. He has his queen. Life is good until it isn't, because during the cleanup of the mess that the Red King kind of left, and just the fight, because he needs to rebuild this world. He advocates for peace and like burying the hatchet between the Pinkies and Meek's people. And that was the whole thing too, where like what the Shadow people were talking about is like, he needs to liberate but also unite the people, and that's what he was doing, was uniting the people. He helps the spikes off world, because he's basically like a feeding kind of like IV for them,
his blood or whatever.
Yeah, for like 7 hours straight, which is crazy. And still not infected. And he helps the spikes off world after that, and then the ship that brought him here by the Illuminati decides to kind of blow up like a huge like nuke, a dirty nuke. Excuse me, and blows up the city that he just liberated, but also kills his wife, and we learned that what we thought was his unborn son. And this leads him and the rest of the Warbound to head for Earth to be continued in World War Hulk.
Yeah. This is my biggest criticism of the book, is it's that fridging of women, trope that we've seen before. Unfortunately, it's like, cool. Like I understand why they did it, and it narratively needed to happen to have Hulk go back to Earth to go wreck stuff. But also, did it need to happen? I don't know. Like, it just, I guess like that was just like, it's that trope though. Like, oh, we got to kill the wife. That way the male protagonist has that reason for revenge and motivation. And yes, it does work in this book. It's just, it's such a hackneyed trope. And I wish they had found a different way to find to set it up like that. If I have any criticism of the book, it's that, you know what I mean? I just because she was such a great character and she loved him, and it's like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna do that. All right, well, haven't seen that before. You know what I mean? Also,
I hear you.
She also got hit with a nuke earlier in the book, and that was fine. So it's like I'm not sure why suddenly this nuke was a problem.
I kind of think this was a little bit more powerful because of like
it was
sure like some comic booky word for the engine or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's some kind of reason. It's so dirty, like you said. It's human technology for whatever. It's like I said, if I have to offer a criticism, and again, I'm being not nitpicky, but I'm just being like honest. Like that's the one criticism I have of the book. I'm being honest about it. The issue I have with it, for lack of a better word.
I kind of agree in a sense. Like they could have done the same thing where it's a bomb, it blows up and stuff, but they could have kept her alive.
Yeah.
Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you both. And it was one of those things where you kind of knew something was going to happen. Something was inevitably going to happen to all these people because, we don't see them from this point on. And she doesn't, in future books. And so I think her dying without her powers might be because of the pregnancy.
Maybe.
That's my justification in my own head. They didn't call it out, but that's kind of like my own thoughts. And I think it something drastic needed to happen so that it, like we said, it sets up World War Hulk. It's the next story, and for you to understand, like, oh no, he is pissed, like more than anything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The World War Hulk is him at his most angry and most powerful.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. It's just I wish there had been another way to do it.
Yeah.
I will say that there is the What If comic, like what if she had lived and Hulk had died? And in that book, she comes to Earth as like the warbound and subjugates all the heroes. Like she's just like, nah, that ain't happening. Like she wipes them out. Like no chill. Like she's like, so it's like you at least get the counterpoint. Like what if the Hulk died instead? So it's like you do get that counterpoint, but it's like I said, it's a there. I don't know what the answer would have been. Like, oh, maybe his son would have died. It's like, well, that's just as dark, and he did anyway, or not. We thought he did. I just wish there was a reason, for him to go ballistic other than having to kill the love, not the love of his life, but the love at that time. But again, that's if I'm offering a criticism, that's the one criticism I have. And I wonder how much of that might have come down from editorial or from above, or, oh, we need him back on Earth and pissed off so we can do this big event,
It was probably Joe Quesada because he's like Peter Parker, Hulk cannot be married.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened very quickly too. Like it seemed like, okay, guys, come on, we need to go to the next story. Come on, let's go now.
Well, I agree. They could have. It felt like they could have milked Sakaar a little bit more.
Yes, exactly, and that's kind of where I'm saying, like, I feel like the book could have kind of ended there, and then you could have done another arc because originally this was only supposed to be 8 issues. I mean, this got pushed out to 14 plus a tie-in, so 15 issues. I mean, they did double the length of it, and like people obviously were invested, so you could have maybe done more stories. Like, what if like the Brood invaded or the Phalanx or something else like happened? But events got to event. You got to get Hulk back to Earth and start that next event.
Right. Which I mean, I like the next event, but
it's so funny. There's a lot of criticism about that. It's funny, but
I know.
We'll save
we'll save it for another time. So this book, that's like kind of like everything. We quick breakdown. Definitely read it because we do go.
We leave a lot out.
We streamlined it a little bit, but because we wanted to keep this under 3 hours. But there are some what would we say, like inspirations, or just this spawned a couple of other things, like basically Thor Ragnarok. You can just pretty much say that's pretty much World War Hulk for most of that movie.
Yeah,
sorry, Planet Hulk. Excuse me.
Well, at least 50% of that movie is Planet Hulk.
Yeah, I mean you can even, instead of the Silver Surfer, you have Thor. Red King. It's the Grand Master. There's definitely they use Sakaar and stuff. There's definitely a lot of inspiration from Planet Hulk to this movie.
Do you think that the movie does the comic justice, or would you and this is just me. I mean, I know my answer, but it's like, would you like them to maybe even go back and like, hey, we know there's like that 2-year gap while the Hulk is here, and fill that out and make that Planet Hulk or something like that? Or do you think that we're never going to see that?
I
But
think, yeah, I think we're past that story wise in a sense of we would have seen Hulk as a revolutionary, not a gladiator when the Thor came. I don't think it does the comic justice, only because it's not really Planet Hulk. It's a Thor movie, not a Hulk movie. So I mean, what do you think, Nate? Like, it's
I've been trying to think about this this whole week leading up to this recording here, of just like, if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I love Thor Ragnarok. It's great. I love the Hulk stuff. I want to see more of like Hulk and Thor duking it out." I'm like, man, then don't read Planet Hulk. This is not what we're gonna be wanting.
yeah,
But at the same time, they do take a lot of stuff from Planet Hulk that's like, "Hey, that's kinda cool," but there's some stuff where it's a lot more in-depth and emotional in the book that they have to gloss over, obviously, for the movie, but there's a whole story of like, hey, there's slavery going on,
agree.
and Hulk's like, "No, I'm not about that. I'm gonna stop it." Well, in
Mhm.
the Thor Ragnarok, Hulk's just like, "Hey, I'm just kind of hiding out here. I'm just kind of chilling, I'm
Yeah.
celebrated. I love this." And in the book, Hulk's not happy until like probably the end, but Hulk's like, "I don't want to be here. I'm gonna help these people, but I just want to, you know,
That's a good point.
kill,
Yeah, I
crash
agree.
some things and free people."
Well, it's funny you should say that because like even the Korg and Meek of it all, like they're
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
funny in the movie. Like I love Korg, like he's really funny. It's like not a sicko, but a freaky sicko. Like all the stuff that Korg says, like is really funny, and the rock paper scissors joke and all that. Like I love all that, but like, does it do justice to Korg and Meek in the comic? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so you
especially
kind of have to look.
Meek.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially, but it's like you kind of have to like separate the two. It's like this is its own thing. Are we ever going to get this? Probably not. But, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, I mean, in this case, you gotta take what you can get. That
Yeah,
said,
it's
there
very well.
wasn't.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
good.
very like surface level
Yeah.
Yeah,
of the Planet Hulk. It's not like Nate said. There's more like
depth.
social commentary on the Planet
Yeah,
Hulk than
yeah.
because even like you can say Thor Ragnarok's more of like a family story or like
Yeah,
everything where they they touch upon the revolution type of thing, but it's more of like a joking type of thing. And um yeah, it's very surface level, like the cusp in the like the hard candy layer of this M&M that is
Yeah.
Planet Hulk.
It would Thor Ragnarok's kind of like if someone just like saw like, "Hey, here's the spark notes. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, I got
Yeah,
it. Yeah, let's
not
throw
here.
some of
Yeah,
that in."
it's very
yeah.
high
It's funny.
level
Yeah.
concept.
It's funny you should say because there's other stuff that happens in Ragnarok that also takes from other influences that would love
Yeah.
to. Like a lot of the Walt Simonson stuff with like,
Hmm.
what's his name, the Executioner when he's got the
Execution,
machine
yeah,
gun. Yeah, yeah. So it's like that all said, it's like we're never gonna get a one. And do we want a 1-to-1 from the comic books? Like if you want to just read the comic books at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
point.
yeah.
So it is weird because I do love Ragnarok. I think it's probably my top
No, I think it's great.
It's very fun.
3,
Yeah,
It's a fun movie.
yeah, of like of Thor or not Thor films, obviously Thor films, of the MCU films. But like when you compare it to the source material, you're like, oh wow, they left a lot on the plate. They left a lot on the table. They left a lot on the plate that we're never gonna get to eat. That is gone. Like you can't come back.
yeah.
Oh, we're gonna do Planet Hulk 2. It's like no, that's not gonna happen. Well, so much for
Yeah,
that.
if they, even just even if they wanted to, they couldn't.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I guess the closest again was like apparently he has a son that we didn't know about that they're never gonna touch upon again.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if they can use Sakar's son, but they can't use the Hulk because of the whole
The
Universal
universal
rights?
rights, that's probably what it is, to be honest. I don't know, who knows? I mean, whatever. N Moving tangentially to that, like, there was an animated version of this book done. If I've never seen it because, like I said, I don't watch the cartoons, I don't have time, but you all seem to be cartoon guys. Is that correct? Am I wrong in assuming that?
No, that's right. It's just
Clearly
like
wrong.
I don't.
Hate cartoons. They're the worst.
Okay,
But
well,
also,
then
it's like I don't
end of
have time because
podcast.
I'm doing like adult stuff. You guys can go watch
I
cartoons,
got
right?
2 damn kids, man.
But yeah, no, yeah, there is a animated movie of Planet Hulk, and this one is actually very close to the source material. It's
Oh, really?
almost one to one. They have a lot of the key moments in there. Like they definitely have the Kyra holding the child during the whole bombing
Jeez.
thing, and it's very very loyal to the source material.
I think I know the answer to this, but does he fight the Silver Surfer?
No,
No.
Nate, who does he fight?
So he fights Beta Ray Bill,
Oh,
which, for
baby.
those who don't know Beta Ray Bill, he's horse space Thor. So
Space Horse Thor.
yeah, basically. But he's still like it was kind of still when I watched it, and I just watched it again the other day just to like refamiliarize myself because it is a great adaptation. They still
Okay.
like finagle some stuff and leave stuff out, but that's still another character where you're like, okay, this is more serious now too. This is Better Ray Bill is kind of a main guy that can go toe to toe with the Hulk, so just as good as Thor can. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is getting serious now.
No, and they tied
Uh,
Better A Bill into the storyline
Mhm.
really well too, because he is with Thor when he fights Korg and
Yeah,
his brothers. Like it's they like introduced him, so like even like Korg is like, oh no, like I can't fight this guy
yeah.
either.
And Better Ray Bill
And
has a great line too, where he's like, "Yeah, all these other people I feel bad about, but you, I don't feel bad about killing you because I know what you try to do on Earth."
yeah.
Interesting. How's the, I mean, this is one thing I will say that this is no disrespect to Marvel, but, Warner Brothers and DC seems to have better animation,
Oh,
and they've
100%.
got a great voice acting is really great in most of the DC stuff. How is the A, the animation, and B, the voice acting in this?
I think this is like one of the top, if not the best Marvel animated movie.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
I
it's
think
really good.
this
Yeah,
one this one and funny enough, the Hulk versus
hmm
animated movie is good. Hulk
Okay.
versus one is like it's two stories. It's the Hulk and Thor and Hulk and Wolverine.
Okay.
And the Hulk and Thor one is great because it follows it's basically like Odin is in the Odin sleep, and so he is able to control the Hulk, and they attack Asgard basically
Okay.
with the
Okay.
Hulk, and Thor is fighting him, and then Wolverine one is Hulk versus Weapon X, or Hulk and Wolverine against Weapon X, and you get a lot of like a great like Deadpool moments in that one.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Um, with who's the voice of Deadpool in that? It's the guy who does a bunch of voices now. Um,
Troy
Nolan North.
Baker, Nolan North. Okay.
yeah, he's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah, they have. I was just looking up the cast for the animated, and they have really good voices. Kevin Michael Richardson as Korg, which is really good.
Hmm.
Liam O'Brien as Hero. He's a great voice for it, and so is Steve Bloom is in it too, and he does great. Usually like with Wolverine, but he plays Better Ray Bill in it, and it's really good voice acting cast.
Nice. All right, I'll have to check that out. Maybe that's one of those things I can get my son to watch or something like that. All right, good to know.
Good, yeah.
Well, on that note, what are your final thoughts? I'm assuming we're all recommending this, but what is your final thoughts? We'll start with you, Nate.
Definitely recommend. If you're just looking for a good Hulk story to kind of dive into without, you don't need a whole bunch of backstory to really tee yourself up. You're just like, hey, Hulk has a gladiator. That's all you need to know. But overall, it's a great book, great art, easy read. Uh, for me, I just like blaze through it because it's just like one after another. It's, like Brian said, it's very cinematic in that sense of you just want to keep turning a page, and finding out what's next. And it's a great story overall. And there's a reason why there's so many adaptations or like people try to take stuff
Spin-offs.
away from it. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
overall a great story and just fun.
Nice. What about you,
What do
Josh?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's funny when you said it, the accessibility, I think, is the big thing, which you just brought up, Nate. That I think is really important with this because, like, yeah, there's probably arguably better stories or stories of equal merit, whether it's Immortal Hulk or Peter David's run. The problem is they are bogged down in continuity. Like, I hate to say it, but you're not going to just jump into a Peter David anything and pick it up. It's like there's so much story going on in his run. I mean, it's 12 years of comics. The same with Immortal Hulk. That's like 50 issues plus all the spin-offs. Like as good as it is, and obviously it did really well. It's the number one selling Thor comic, or not Thor comic, Hulk comic. Like this is so accessible. It's like, oh, you just need, like you just said, oh, it's Thor's a Thor, or Hulk is a gladiator. Go for it. I think it reads just as well as it did 20 years ago. You can have some of the backstory with Reed and the other idiots, but I think you don't need it. This is a relatively self-contained story. And the fact that you can pick it up now for like $15, for one of those digest versions, I think this is like a must read.
And I agree with both of your guys' points that I think you really don't need to. I mean, the Hulk's story, the Hulk is pretty well known in the zeitgeist of just pop culture. I think everybody kind of knows what the Hulk is, and I think that's all you need to know. Like you can go into this, like Nate and Brian, what you said, you can come into this cold, and you pretty much know. You can go from there, and even like this can even be just a good starting point if you ever wanted to like really, like, oh, I've heard about the Hulk. I wanted to learn more about him. Like this is, I think, a good first one to go into, and then if you really like the Hulk on this one, go back to the Peter David stuff. Go back to, Immortal Hulk, or different, things like that. I think this is like a good, like if somebody was wanting to wanted a recommendation of what to read first, I would probably do this one first.
I agree with that 100%.
It's just a fun book. It's just fun to read. And you don't have to like rack your brain on like the multiple levels. Like there's levels to it, but you're not like diving deep. It's like, hey, this is simple, easy read, and fun overall.
And you're also not dealing with like, is it Bruce Banner? Is it, is it Savage Hulk? Is it Smart Hulk or Professor Hulk? It's like, nope, this is just, like you said, Survivor Hulk. And it's kind of like essentially one character all the way through with Hulk. You know what I mean? Like I said, the problem with Hulk is you do get into all the various, like Mr. Fix-It, which is the gray Hulk, or like Dumb Hulk, or, it's like, nope, it's just Gladiator Hulk and off to the races. So we're all kind of on board.
100%.
Well, yeah, I think this is a great book, and I mean, surprise, surprise, we did a book that we like. So yeah.
As I've said before, we're not going to cover trash, not usually at least. Well, if you like this book, what also would you recommend, Josh or Nate? That would, if you're like, oh, this is great, I want more, or something similar, what would you recommend?
I think when you finish Planet Hulk, you have to go into World War Hulk.
It's funny that I pulled the hardcover out. I have like the giant compendium. I pulled it. I'm like, well, guess I'm reading this later this week.
Yeah, I think you just have to, just how it ends, and you just want to see the comeuppance, and then you get to see kind of like not only just like the World War Hulk proper, I think, but also go into the different side stories and the tie-in issues too. Like there's one where he fights all the X-Men, and like there's like great moments where he beats Wolverine by giving him constant concussions. Like, so you get more of that smarter warrior Hulk. Cause again, World War Hulk, like we said, this is his strongest and angriest he is, like, ever. It's still like known as like the strongest Hulks. And it shows by the people that he fights and defeats and things like that. And like, it has that moment too, where he goes, he's fighting the X-Men at the X-Mansion, and then Darwin comes up, and Darwin wants to fight, but like his powers like is survival, or like he evolves to something whatever to help him survive. So like if it's constant heat, he turns very cold, or something like that. So his power basically teleports him away from the fight. That's his only way of like surviving
hilarious.
the fight.
I forgot about that. That's hilarious.
So yeah, World War Hulk, I think Return to Planet Hulk is one.
Amadeus Cho goes Sakaar, I believe. There's the What If Planet Hulk, I think was good, that people should read. We mentioned Peter David's Hulk, which also is another book he did, which is something you really love, which is
like Maestro as a character.
That's fine.
Like that one's like, he's like scary in that one, in a sense. Like he's
evil
unstoppable,
and smart.
Evil and smart and unstoppable. And
yeah,
there's the like Nate, you said the, what was it, Future Imperfect, right?
Yeah, Future Imperfect.
But there's also like the how he became Maestro.
Yeah, it's
and
a
that's a really
more
good Peter David book.
yeah. For those who don't know, Maestro is basically a future version of the Hulk who's basically conquered the world and is evil and
Yeah.
gleefully evil and smart. And so fun times. Um There's another book that I thought I would recommend was like Conan the Barbarian.
Mhm.
Ironically enough, I think like if you're into this and you're looking for more, Conan is like a perfect book to pick up. Like I think it kind of fills into that. So yeah.
Other one is Immortal Hulk, like we were saying. If you just want more Hulk stories, because we've seen this one as like more of a gladiator, we've seen him more of like a psychological one. Like Immortal Hulk is more
It's a
like
horror book.
a horror book.
Yeah. Body horror and
Which
stuff.
is also scary because like how Hulk is like immortal but also unstoppable, so it's very scary.
It deals a lot with, like, the metaphysics of the Marvel universe as well, like the door
Yeah.
above and the door below, like the one above all, which is
Oh
essentially
yeah.
God, yeah, and then, like, the door
Below all.
below. Yeah. So, yeah, like, if you're looking for, like, more of, like, a and it uses the history of the Marvel. It doesn't just create its own, like, it's like, no, this is stuff that, Peter or Al Ewing, like, used to, like, tell that story, so I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
Great.
Nate, do you have any other ones?
Um, I definitely agree the World War Hulk, and I'm on the side of it's not my favorite book. I'm not a huge fan of World War Hulk, and it's because I just love this book so much that everything after that, I'm like, and they kind of like from what I kind of gleaned of some other stuff in the future of just like they kind of turn the World Breaker Hulk into like his level up form, and I'm gonna get mad, and now I'm the World Breaker form. It's like okay, and it's just
Over 5,000.
yeah, exactly. It's like yeah, we've lost the plot. We're just kind of like done. But I definitely Immortal Hulk is a great one for a Hulk story. Watch the Gladiator because it's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
much
I watched
very
that in the movie.
it's pretty much similar. Yeah.
It's great. Um, what are you all well, let's move on to weekly recommendations and, like, what are you all reading? Like, is there any recommendations, you have, like, Josh, you wanna go first?
But yeah, just what I'm reading right now is I mentioned it before in previous kind of but it's now that they started the sequel to so it's the Dark Knight Steel
Yeah.
book. It's like DC but
Game
in
of Thrones?
medieval, yeah, Game of Thrones medieval times. Um and they restart because they did like the Dark Knight Steel proper, and then they had like this side story with
Yeah,
it's like
All Winter?
all winter and um it's Tom Taylor, which is great, and the art's great, and it's and they just started again, kind of introducing more of like Atlantean and more like the Bloodhaven Islands and Oracle and things like that. So it's a fun Elseworlds type of book.
Nice. What about you, Nate? What do you recommend for the fans out there?
Um, Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's a great series. Really fun to get
Mhm.
into. Uh,
I'm reading book 8 right now, baby.
nice, nice.
We've discussed it. Oh, nice.
Oh,
I
very
think
cool.
book 9 comes out in October.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you serious that quick?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's in two
Wow.
parts that they say.
And it's in 2
Yeah,
parts,
that's
yeah.
yeah,
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 that's awesome.
yeah,
I'm
I'm still
excited for
reading.
it. And a TV show coming out too, which we'll see about that.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll see.
Yeah.
per Josh's recommendation, I started the Red Rising series and listening to those books. Those are really good and fun too. Of just
Nice.
sci-fi, fun time. Um, I so I'm rereading the Power Rangers comic book,
That's a good
Oh,
one.
the
nice.
Shattered Grid.
Speaking of is it Tom Taylor
Tom
too? No.
Higgins, Tom
Mm,
Higgins, Tom
Higgins.
Higgins.
yeah, it's a great. I'm a big Power Rangers nerd, and it's just a great story.
What?
What? No way.
What? Of just like a different Power Rangers coming on together and fighting, the ultimate bad Power Ranger, which is it's a fun time and a fun ride.
Interesting. Just
Brian, what about you?
just I was gonna say, you're just going after this toy nostalgia.
Yeah.
God, what a lame
That's what we do.
yeah, well, I'm reading Fort Psycho, and basically it's what if the GI Joe oh, shit. No,
Oh,
Yeah.
no, basically, yeah, it's a book by Matt Kent and Brian Hur it's called Fort Psycho. It's basically what if GI Joe beat Cobra, but in the process, like, ended up killing a lot of civilians. And so they're all basically put in jail at this place called Fort Psycho. It's like, well, you messed up. Yeah, you saved the world, but you killed a lot of people doing it. So we're putting you in jail. Turns out it's not really jail, it's something else. It's basically like, here's your retirement. Thanks for sitting there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, you're in jail, guys. But then you find out there's actually another sinister plot happening behind the scenes, and that's like, oh, it got real. So I don't want to spoil anything, but if you're a fan of GI Joe or like nods to GI Joe, I definitely recommend it. The first issue's out, so you're plenty of time to catch up right now if you want.
GI Jail.
Hey, nice. I'll take that one. Well, on that note,
Nate, on that note,
okay, thank you, Batman.
I was gonna say, dude, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
I miss working with you, Nate. Like, legitimately. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Like, you are absolutely a workhorse that I could always depend on, or at the very least, deflect shows that I didn't want to deal with. I'm not going to name any talents,
right?
but I could deflect shows over to you and you would take it and just run with it, and I didn't have to worry about it. So, on that note, I miss working with you. Always was great to work with you, but it was great to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Miss you too, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Calm down. Let's calm down. I know. Thanks, Steve, for coming on. It was a great pick and great discussion. Thanks for joining. Again, it was like old times where you and I would just run up to Brian's place and we'd just hang out.
Just hang out for hours, just watching TV and talking comics.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me on. It's a great time and great talking these great books and just hearing you guys talk about comics and on all your episodes. It's a really great podcast and I'm glad to be part of it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks so much. So if you're like Nate and you like the episodes in the show, please make sure to subscribe and hit us up on Instagram and the Blue Sky. I think
or Spotify, apparently.
Yeah, that's how I listen to on Spotify.
Comments. Yeah. Well, and also comment on Spotify, on YouTube, also if you want like some comments and stuff. But we're on Instagram and Blue Sky. Like, we got issues, and then we got issues cast. One of those on either Blue Sky or Instagram. I think, Brian, you're the BComp on Blue Sky, and then Speedo Jedi on Instagram. But
I'm never gonna check. Some people have like friend requested me. I'm like, I really should add those.
Yeah. Brian's never on Instagram, so this is. And we need to up our social game for sure. Like myself on this one. But look, if you liked it, please rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening, and recommend to your friends. And if you have something you want us to chat about, please leave it in a comment or send us a message or something.
Well, on that note,
Josh,
one of you did reach out to us on Spotify.
We got a comment on Spotify with a suggestion. It was somebody that I don't know who it was. So that's amazing. First of all, thank you so much for the comment. But we got a request to dive into more of a Static Shock and like talking about the God Bomb or the
their name is Jaden, I believe.
Jaden, excuse me.
Jalen, excuse me.
Thank you for the suggestion. So that's what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to dive into Static Shock and kind of use that as a great excuse to talk about the Milestone universe too. And really kind of dig into the character as he's kind of making his way more into the main DC line, and he's like a member of the Titans now, which is great.
Right. Yep. So on that note,
thanks everybody for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace.